The latest Starfield news is very concerning considering Gamescom is just around the corner. We'll be doing our own live coverage of Gamescom on this channel, and I want to outline why I am concerned about Starfield in light of a lot of recent developments about the game. I'll put all of my concerns, all of the info right here at the beginning of the video. These videos are a little bit longer because they're live streams, so be sure to hit subscribe and the bell button if you don't want to miss my content, and we put these updates right at the beginning so you don't have to go searching for the information. This is a Reforge update. The latest Starfield news is concerning in light of Gamescom and whether or not they're even going to be there or have anything new to show. Beyond that, there's other things that we sort of haven't covered that I want to add to this as well for my concerns about Starfield that are kind of growing. If you like these quick updates, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell button, or check out Reforge Gaming where I stream live. So I'm going to pull from PCGamesN.com about this. They literally updated just this morning, and so I get to kind of add more to the story than I was even initially planning on covering. There was an initial invitation for folks with respect to Starfield and Gamescom, then those details were altered, then details were removed altogether. I also want to talk about the modding community and the Xbox Series S. So let's just start with the initial invitation. According to PCGamesN.com, Bethesda initially invited Gamescom attendees via a post on their developer blog to, quote, come see Redfall and Starfield gameplay and get your hands on Fallout 76 while you're there. Not really sure why they're telling people to come get their hands on Fallout 76 in light of the fact that people are probably chomping at the bit to see and play Redfall and Starfield, but there you have it. Now, people were thinking, oh, that means we're going to get to see more gameplay, get to see more things about Starfield and Redfall. Redfall just released a pretty lengthy video talking about the game, and it was a whole lot of nothing. They really didn't give any substantive details. The only takeaway was that there's one section in Redfall that's larger than the entire prey map. Outside of that, Starfield is far more anticipated, and I think gameplay is the primary thing people want to see, given a lot of the concerns and questions surrounding some of the issues with the initial gameplay reveal that they had. Then those details were altered. The original post was changed, telling players to, quote, come see a replay of the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase gameplay presentations for Redfall and Starfield, seemingly confirming that any Starfield footage at Gamescom would simply be what was shown back in June, which again is kind of weird. I don't know why you would go to Gamescom and then tell everybody, hey, the most interested people in your game, come watch the stuff that you've already seen, which doesn't really make people get all that excited. You know, it's literally a showcase that's already taken place. You can go watch the showcase right now on YouTube. What purpose would it serve? Then they just deleted it. Now Bethesda seems to have changed its plans once again. This is just this morning, August 22nd. The same developer blog has been once again altered, removing any mentions of Starfield and Redfall altogether. Now, some people are obviously holding out hope, being like, oh, maybe they're going to surprise us. Maybe they didn't want people to think, what in the world? Why would you tell everybody to come watch the same showcase at a completely different conference, given they can go watch the video right now on YouTube in its entirety? I'm really concerned with respect to this game was supposed to be originally launching in November. Wouldn't you have a marketing pipeline? Wouldn't you have new B-roll, new gameplay, new anything to show at Gamescom? It is one of the bigger events every year that gets a lot of play, arguably more play than the summer events that were just sort of random this year. Xbox Bethesda Showcase did very well, but we didn't have that central event with E3. The Summer Game Fest did well and continues to grow, but Gamescom has a pretty big pull. Now, I'm also curious about the fact that the Series S performance is being highlighted as struggling with first-party titles, and this game's looking like it has performance issues in the gameplay. This is another time that they could have come out and really put some of those things to rest, talked about optimization, maybe talked about performance on the Series S. I still think that that's the real reason for the delay. This game was, potentially going to be a timed PS5 exclusive. I don't think they had plans for it to run on a system that is struggling with memory bottlenecks. Modders are already organizing to address day one bugs, which leaves me very concerned about how this game will be received. I want this game to do well. I want to dive into this and pour hours and hours into it, but I think day one bugs. A reliance on the modding community seems to already be on the runway. That doesn't mean the game will be buggy, but the modding community is ready. And then if it runs poorly on the Series S, I imagine people are going to blame Bethesda instead of actually blaming the fact that the Series S is a weaker console. So this game could be already setting itself up to not having the greatest launch, and it's concerning this close to the original launch date that marketing is just this in disarray. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, check out Reforge Gaming where I stream live. Hit subscribe and the bell button, and I'll see you in the next video. And I'll see the rest of you right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy Monday to you. I am growing more and more concerned about this game the more we learn about it. The doctor's office is going to start us off with the first member renewal of the day, hitting 3 months. As a reminder, if you're watching the VOD, you can always support the stream with the membership and then watch those member streams live, or you can watch them later. My wife and I did a stream over the weekend with Elden Ring, Cuphead, and some puzzle games. Be sure to check that VOD. Consider becoming a member for $5 a month. Even if I'm not live, you can click that join button or order some coffee. There's various sponsor links below in the descriptions of all of our videos, and those are ways to support the channel directly. If you've never been here before or you're a subscriber, always be working on those likes milestones. You know, we try to hit them during the stream, and then after, make sure you're smashing that like button. Legend Status renewing their membership, hitting a 4-month milestone. Welcome back in. And Talica doing the same thing, hitting a 4-month milestone, and it's a tier 2. This Friday night is community game night, and we're doing Jackbox. Tier 2 members will get the code first in Discord. So if you're wanting to cut in line, upgrade to tier 2 before Friday. We're trying to get to 100 tier 2 members. That's a pretty big milestone for us. Warsmith doing a 12-month milestone. That's a whole year. Talica says, love the shirt. Got my Ice Reforge roast, and I'm ready for the day. Cannot wait to see what's in store for Gamescom. Thank you so much. We will be covering Gamescom on this channel. We'll be one of the official co-streamers like we did for Summer Game Fest. Noberto hitting 16 months. Big milestone. Been a busy few months, but I'm back working, lurking, hearing all of the wonderful discussions. Thank you so much. Kareem says, yo, Lono, I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks. Good to see you, Kareem. Good to see you in the chat feed. I see you. Is the music louder than normal? It does seem louder than normal. It was louder than normal. Sorry about that. It was sitting at a 5, I think, instead of a 4. There we go. That should be a little bit better in the mix. Embarrassing question, but what's Gamescom? It's the big it's the big game conference event that happens every year in Germany, and usually tons of people show up, and I don't know why Starfield wouldn't be front and center or have anything new to show. That's just bizarre to me. Guys, do me a favor. We don't have 100 likes yet. Let's start off Monday morning right. Let's get 18 more likes on the video. The Church of Dragon Communion holds powerful incantations at the cost of your humanity. What path do you choose? Interesting marketing right after Game of Thrones premiere. Or they're just trying to capitalize on it. You know what I mean? I don't know if they have DLC plans centered around that. Derek's in the chat. Good to see you. I need to go back and watch those timestamps. I saw your comments. I need to go try to grab those for shorts. I have a 6-hour drive to South Carolina. Glad to be able to listen to the show today. What's good, Detective Seeds? Microsoft wants to keep all the marketing to their own events. I don't know about that, Lido. I mean, is that really a good plan? So you're just going to do your Bethesda showcase in the summer and then what? Go dead quiet until the game launches? Like, I don't think your suggestion is necessarily out of left field, but if that's in fact their plan and what they think is going to work, I have to question that. I really, really do. You know what I'm saying? What's good, Warpath? I know what it is. When is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Gamescom starts tomorrow. We will be covering it. The kickoff event's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, and we will be co-streaming that. It looks like a very, very good event. Going to be a 2-hour-long event. We'll kick the debrief to members, so that's a good reason to become a member between now and then, rather than drag out the stream. We'll debrief for a little bit, and then, like I said, I'm gonna kick the debrief to members. I always have to end a little bit early on Tuesday, so with coaching my daughter's soccer team now. 99 likes. Are you kidding me right now? Come on, folks. Roll those likes over. Come on. Let's get started real strong. Bethesda just keeps putting on their own clown masks, says Alex. Creature says, no, this is not in Microsoft's playbook, really. I mean, Starfield's probably close to 8 months away, so they have to show new stuff other than at Gamescom. It could have kicked the entire marketing plan down the road, Godson. You 100% could be correct. This is a huge change. At VidCon, I spoke to YouTube about a bridge to better connect shorts to long-form discovery today. The first lane of the bridge open. Recommendations now consider recent long-form videos from channels the viewer watches in shorts. Too long I didn't read is people who watch the shorts will be recommended our long-form content. Oh, that's very, very nice. I kicked out one today about toe ball. 100 dislikes now for balance. No, Fat Steven Seagal. Soccer, do you mean toe ball? Yeah, we kicked out a short this morning with the toe ball thing. Just joined what's concerning. So if you're just tuning in, the latest Starfield news is it's a giant bumble that literally got an update this morning. As I was typing my rundown, there was a brand new update, like it was 35 minutes old. So they were inviting people and saying, hey, if you're at Gamescom, come check out gameplay of Starfield and Redfall, and then they modified it and said, come enjoy and re-watch the Xbox Bethesda showcase, which is the weirdest thing ever. I don't know why you would go to Gamescom and be like, come re-watch what we showed you at a showcase that you can go watch right now, and then they deleted it entirely. So it's not even in the post now. Instead of being like, oh, come watch Redfall and Starfield are just deleted from the post. So either they're completely absent and not present at Gamescom, which is what? Why wouldn't you? What are you doing? Or they're not wanting to draw attention to the fact that they're showing replays. I genuinely don't understand it. Like I said, it's concerning. It's like this game was originally slated for a November launch date. Like the Starfield release date was November the 11th. You don't have any new marketing, nothing. You don't have new B-roll, no new gameplay. What's going on with this game? You know, what's happening? Hope Punching the Clown discussion from the other day doesn't get a short. No, it will not be getting a short. Kamahoda in the first place bit is to be a short. Yeah, we'll see. I don't want to have swearing in the shorts. I don't know how clean we kept it that late in that members-only stream. Sounds like miscommunication, says Ganks. Something broke down along the line with marketing. But if let's imagine that's true, Ganks. Let's just say, because there's 1,000 possibilities, and what you've just typed is certainly one of them, like somebody misfired. How in the world are you having miscommunication with respect to the marketing of your two biggest titles? Like, this isn't some little indie that they're like, oops-a-daisy, sorry, that indie's not going to be there. These are center stage titles. And you're like, and you literally type up a thing that says, hey, come and watch Starfield gameplay as well as Redfall. And then, like, within 24 hours, you're like, oh, just kidding. It's a rewatch of the Xbox Bethesda showcase, and then after the entire weekend of everybody scratching their head about it, Monday morning I wake up, go to type up my rundown on the story, and they're like, oh yeah, it's just deleted from the blog. Like, what? What's happening? How do you mess it up that many times? Number one, is it going to be there? Yes or no? Number two, is it going to be a replay of the Xbox Bethesda showcase? And if that's true, why? Why would you do that? I mean, I guess if you're like, listen, we have to have something to show, so we might as well show that. I mean, like I said, I guess these titles are supposed to carry them the next year, right? Yes, these are supposed to be some of their biggest launches of next year. Look how poorly Sony marketed God of War Ragnarok this year. What do you mean? How is it poorly marketed? In what way did they poorly market the game? They released a gameplay video, then they released an accessibility blog. The only thing that got weird with them was the release date announcement, and that wasn't weird. Some leaker got everybody really jazzed, and when it didn't get announced on the day that the leaker said it was going to get announced, everybody peed their pants. Like, no. In my opinion, it seems like everything with this game has been mismanaged. The marketing, the gameplay, the trailer, the release, and now this. I went from I can't wait to pre-order to I will wait and see. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Hogwarts Legacy's been receiving more love from them. I might be wrong. I just don't know if they, like, they don't even really need to market God of War, and they've been spurious with the marketing, but they haven't miscommunicated, right? They haven't miscommunicated. They didn't tell everybody to tune into Summer Games Fest to see God of War Ragnarok gameplay, and then say, oh, just kidding, it's a replay, and then say, oh, just kidding, we're not going to be there at all. Like, what in the frick? Next state of play. Well, we have a leak about the next state of play. I don't know if it's 100% true, but that's just the date I got told. Hey, not sure if this is up to you. Apparently, the PlayStation Showcase is September the 8th. There won't be an August show at all. Doesn't sound like it. Had 3 different people tell me the 8th of September within about 20 minutes of each other. I know dates get changed last second, too, but it sounds like they want to. It sounds like they want to go before Disney. So September the 8th is apparently the next state of play. And I don't know. I will admit that some of the stuff they did with God of War Ragnarok ticked me off, like messing with the release date window on the store, making everybody think it was going to be at Summer Games Fest, but they didn't officially announce anything. Like, there's a big difference between saying, come and watch stuff, and then being like, just kidding, come and rewatch old stuff, and then say, oh, just kidding, there's nothing. You know what I'm saying? They might try to hold on the release just to try for Game of the Year next year because they know it won't win this year. I'm not sure which game you're talking about. What is promising about this game is that it is it was a timed Sony exclusive, and when things are timed on PlayStation, it's usually a banger. They have good eyes for this. Possibly, but what if it's all getting jacked up now? Because there's two sides of that coin, okay? If Starfield was in fact going to be a timed exclusive for Sony, and now all of a sudden Microsoft owns them, and all that has to get changed, well, then I don't want to do the Xbox Series S's weak debate all over again, but my gosh, that has to be the reason it got delayed. You weren't building it for that system. I'm telling you, my concerns about this game continue to grow. I was super optimistic. I defended the game initially. I was like, the graphics and the characters are good. I was a little concerned about performance issues with frame rate and some of the pop-in. I defended the character design. I defended the RPG aspects. I defended Starfield planet to planet or whatever not being able to land. I was like, it doesn't really need that. But then this happened, and I was like, what is going on with that game? Think about what has happened. You have the Starfield release date. According to Todd Howard, it was set in ink. This guy's like, it's not moving. And then within weeks of him saying that, maybe not weeks, it was about a month, right? 3 to 4 weeks. Just, oh yeah, it's getting delayed. What happened? What do you mean? How do you go from saying that to saying that it's getting delayed? And then this feels very similar. This feels very similar. It's like part of the team is super confident. They're walking out and they're like, yeah, man, be sure to tune in at Gamescom. We got Starfield gameplay. And then somebody's like, hey, bro, no, it's going to be a rewatch. And then after that, they're like, oh, no, yeah, we're not going to even show it. What? So you're going to go to Gamescom and you're not even going to show Starfield? You're not going to remind people about it? What's going on? The Starfield release date was always BS in my opinion. Why though? Why would they do that, Leo? What reason would there be? I'm seriously considering trading my Xbox Series S in for a PS5 or a Series X, whichever I can get my hands on first. Do it. Todd will release a bug with the game because he knows the community will fix it on PC. Xbox needs no bugs after the crap show of 2020 and 2021. Okay, I actually like that. I actually like that angle, Butters. I actually like that angle. They had this thing ready to go for PC and PS5. It was ready, right? And then they try bringing it over to Xbox, and they're having problems, and they're like, listen, you can't have bugs. There's no modding community for the Xbox, right? They can take pictures with the Starfield robot, or did that get canceled too? No, I don't know. Yeah, Victor, I don't know. Yeah, they suddenly focused on like, yeah, come take a picture with the robot, like the in-person people could do that. Excuse me. Whew. You can't have it. You can't leave it up to modders. That just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Right, like the headline that Starfield modders are like waiting in the wings to fix this game. A lot of people were turning that into a negative story. I'm like, that doesn't mean that the game is going to need them. Like, I'm not going to run that. We didn't run that story because I felt like that was such a way of twisting words. It was like the Starfield modding community was basically like, guys, let's get ready. We'll hit the ground running. We'll fix any problems that there are. And that was like a headline that was like, Starfield modding community is gearing up for all of the Starfield bugs. And I'm like, no. This game could be very minimal, have very minimal bugs in it. I thought that was such a bogus headline. What am I missing? It's delayed again, which I feel like most of us absolutely expected. Todd is wrong, also expected. I'm not hearing any new reasons to be concerned. I mean, I am. Listen, if we granted them the delay, right? Okay, listen, we can't make the November date. We got to delay to next year. I'm like, okay, listen, I'll grant you the delay. You got bought by Microsoft. Maybe somewhere along the line that caused all sorts of chaos with development or slowed development down. Fine. Okay. I'll look past that, all right? However, why are you telling people come and see gameplay at Gamescom and then saying, oh, just kidding, it's going to be a replay, and then saying, oh, just kidding, we're not going to, Starfield's not going to be there at all. Looking fresh to say, yeah, I trimmed up the beard, got a haircut, we're looking better now. We would be looking even better if we got 200 likes and some gifted members. Let's kick off Monday right. I am now scheduling and being able to update my channel, and it's way faster than it was last week. So I'm wondering if they worked out those kinks. Like, we were having people gift members, and it was taking like 20 minutes for them to get claimed in the chat. Negative press and concerns aside, there is one thing in the game that calls for celebration. Ladders. That's right. Has this been any Bethesda game that hasn't been improved by modders? Not that we need them for bugs, but we need them in general. Well, but here's the thing, Fuzzy. Let me clarify what I was saying. Oh, that coffee is so good. Let me clarify what I was saying. I didn't cover the Starfield modding community gearing up because it just looked like people were trying to create negative press about things that we don't know. Those people are going to do that no matter what. They're going to gear up, they're going to get ready, and they're going to be ready to try to squash bugs in the game. That doesn't mean there's going to be a bunch of bugs in Starfield. That's why I didn't run the story. It was like, so I'm going to tell everybody, hey guys, tune in to hear me talk about what a bunch of nerds are doing just in case something happens. Like, I'm not trying to be condescending or mean to the modding community. They're lovely, but you know, that's essentially what I've been doing. Here's a bunch of nerds getting ready for this game to come out. Like, what? That'd be like me doing a video on like, hey, there are people that are really jazzed about this sequel and they're decorating their living rooms for it. You know, like that's just not a story. I think after what happened to Fallout 76, they pulled it. If there was gameplay, it would have been like Cyberpunk where everything was pre-made gameplay. How do you gift members? You click the $ at the bottom of chat and then click gift members. That was 2 weeks ago. Looking better. I seem to recall about a week ago the stream looking literally 2 times better. That was 2 weeks ago. What do you mean looking better? What are you talking about? The stream looking better? 2 times better? Are you making a joke about Fallout 76 and Todd Howard? I'm missing something here. This game has been hyped to high heaven, says God's Son. It's too hyped to ever live up to expectations, just like Cyberpunk. Let's hope it's not broken at launch. Click gift 100 members. Trust, says Tony. Is Starfield going to be bigger than Skyrim? I imagine the amount of places you can travel, it will be bigger than Skyrim. Yes. The joke was that your brother was on stream and made things look better. Oh, 2 weeks ago. Oh, I understand. Shut the frick up, man. I'm trying to do a show here, and you're out here making jokes. You're making jokes. How'd this go from Gamescom footage to it being delayed again and it's the S's fault? Nobody said that, Texas. I said, these are all the things that are concerning, okay? When a pattern emerges, right? When a pattern emerges, I said the same thing about Halo Infinite before it launched. That video has aged like a fine wine. My Halo Infinite rant where I was like, here's all the things that have been happening. Here's the pattern of behavior around the game that made me say, y'all don't know what the frick you're doing. You don't know what game you're building. And lo and behold, look at Halo Infinite. I was right. And I'm saying the same thing about Starfield. I'm like, there's a pattern emerging here that's very concerning. First, you delay the game after telling the public the date was set in ink. That's a little alarming. But you know what? If that was the only concerning thing, I would say you just got bought by Microsoft. They might be asking you to do some stuff, optimize some things. Okay, fine. Tons of people are delaying their games. I'm not going to hold a delay over your head, even though the delay came seemingly, at least it seemed to me, it came very shortly after being told that the date was set in ink, okay? Then they debut their gameplay, that we finally get a look at the game, and it literally has performance issues in the video. In the video that they're like, this is what we're going to show the public. There's frame dropping, there's pop-in, there's weird behavior in the video. It's like, okay, you thought that was your best foot forward. That's a little concerning. Usually companies put out the most polished B-roll that you could possibly see. Then the narrative surrounding the Series S starts to get traction, and many of us start to say, if this thing struggled to run, likely that footage was recorded and rendered on a PC. If they're struggling to hit 30 frames per second and pop in and all this other stuff, my goodness, is this game even going to run on the Series S, or is it going to be like Cyberpunk? Then Gamescom rolls around. Okay, cool. It's been 2 months. This is a great time to start showcasing some new stuff. All right, what do you got? Oh, we're going to show some Starfield gameplay. Cool. And then they're like, oh, wait, no, we're going to have you rewatch the Xbox Bethesda showcase. Who would do that? Who would type that? Come to this conference. Why? So you can rewatch what we did at the last conference. What in the frick? No. Listen, I've covered E3 and Gamescom for like 7 years, and every time they go to Gamescom, they take new game roll, new B-roll, and new details. It's called a marketing trickle. You trickle out the marketing, so every time you talk, there's something worth saying, okay? And then they're like, oh, wait. We're not going to do a replay of the Xbox Bethesda showcase. We're just going to delete Redfall and Starfield from the blog post. What in the frick is going on? Do you see? It's a pattern of like, hey, you can count on this, and then it getting sort of ripped away. Just like with the Halo Infinite thing. It was like, oh, right, wait a minute. There's a pattern emerging here. What's going on over there? And look at the state of Halo Infinite. And you can sit here and blame 343, or you can blame Joseph Staten. Whatever you want to blame doesn't matter. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I started to think, well, maybe this was just a fluke, or maybe this was just this thing. And then, no. Now we're up to like 3 or 4 things that feel very concerning. Who else is marketing their game like this, by the way? Who else is marketing their game like this? Is there anybody doing it? Yo, Sinking Ship, thank you for renewing your membership and hitting 2 months. Find me a game that's marketing their game with gameplay that struggles to hit 30 FPS, has graphical pop-in, has a release date that was in ink and got moved, has a marketing team that seemingly doesn't know where their freaking elbow is. Who's doing this? Are there any other games doing this? Putting out such, other than Gotham Knights, who's putting out such confusing marketing materials and approaches? Who? Xbox haters be seething with contempt. Good. Starfield's going to be a generation-defining game. Yeah. It's going to be generation-defining in the wrong way. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct. It's going to be the first Xbox first-party game that no one's going to want to play on the Series S. You're right. It'll be generation-defining. It'll define the Xbox Series X as the superior console by a long shot, by like a large margin. I am not being an Xbox hater at all. I'm really looking forward to this game. I've been looking at it for a long time. I really want it to be amazing. What do you mean? Do you know who I am? A space RPG with potentially tons of hours of content, and you think I'm hating on it? Are you absolutely out of your mind? Someday we will all stop underestimating Todd Howard's propensity to just do whatever the blank he wants. Optics and such be darned, he's an odd bird. Yo, Trill Troll hitting 3 months. That's a new badge for you for hitting that milestone. Wait, this guy's expressing some legitimate concerns. He's about something Xbox related. Looks like you're back at Sony shelling, I see. Listen. You can go back and you watch my coverage during Summer Game Fest. I got angry, and Wheezy was in here disagreeing with me, and I think maybe Eugene was as well. I was ripping Sony Santa Monica for the crap they pulled during Summer Game Fest. I was ripping them. You go in and you fiddle with the release date window of Ragnarok and everybody's buzzing. Oh, we're going to hear about it. Nothing. You say nothing. You don't do anything. You don't show up. You have nothing new. You couldn't even push out a blog post. You couldn't even push out an update. You couldn't even push out a story trailer. Nothing. You just completely avoid the week. I blasted them for that. I'm like, this is dumb. That's not even close to being on the level of what's happening with Starfield. It's not even close. Listen, I take swings when I feel that it's worthy, and I had a lot of people disagreeing with me when I took swings at Sony and Sony Santa Monica. I took swings at Sony when they messed with the storefront, and they spoiled The Last of Us Part 1 reveal that Keighley got to do during Summer Game Fest. I was like, how dumb are you? Why do you keep messing with your storefront, Sony? What are y'all doing? Knock it off. I took big swings at Sony and Sony Santa Monica during that week. So don't act like me sitting here getting worried and concerned about Starfield is some kind of a fanboy Xbox hater thing. I've been doing it to any game that's had bizarreness surrounding their marketing. A $10 tip from T-Bone. Lono, if future Bethesda games are going to be exclusive to Xbox, do you think it's hypocritical that Microsoft is complaining about Sony blocking games to Game Pass when they are doing the same thing? Okay, so we debated the Sony blocking Game Pass thing. It was such a freaking joke. The only example they have is a right of refusal on Resident Evil, which basically meant we want to be the first ones. If we're the ones marketing your game, so if you're going to put it over there, you got to put it over here first. They literally, that was what it was. They weren't saying, don't you dare put that on Sony Game Pass. That's not what they did. It was a contract. It was a marketing contract. We're going to market your game. We're going to put out trailers for your game. And if we do so, if we enter this contract with you, we want right of refusal. Like, we basically, like, if you're going to put it over there, we want it over here first. Yo, Kale gifting 5 memberships. No, yeah, it's still acting goofy. They haven't been grabbed yet. Those things should be grabbed immediately. I don't know what YouTube did, but gifted members is so bizarre now. Some people get emails that say, hey, you just got gifted a member, and it's based on loyalty. But some of the people here are here all the time in their gray names. How are they not getting them? If you can hear my voice right now, I want you to click in chat where it says allow gifts. There we go. Now it's working. Doderix, Mr. Bob Harris, Samurai Gaming, Casper Tandrup, and where's the number 5? Where's number 5? Oh, Bad SCE. There we go. All 5. Homie just said Sony Game Pass. Okay. Is it that funny? Well, no. Are you talking about somebody in chat? I was like, did I misspeak? I mean, I was talking very quickly about Sony blocking Game Pass. Looks like they dished them out to loyal members if no one picks them up within an allotted time. Yeah, I don't know. Suede says, agreed with Creature. It's why I'm wondering if Microsoft is putting undue pressure on Bethesda to deliver a stellar flagship, and it's just been a clash. What's Creature saying? Starfield's in a weird spot. If it's a success, it will recover Microsoft's reputation for destroying studios and games it buys. If it fails, it confirms that perception and sets them back for years. So we started off with some gifted members. We're cruising. We just cruised past 200 likes. Let's see who's our first coffee order today. Anybody ordering coffee? If you're a coffee drinker, check out Reforge Roast. There's a link below in the description or the command in chat. This is ours, not some sponsor. My wife and kiddos ship it to you with little thank you notes. You're supporting a small business. If you haven't hit subscribe yet this morning, which a couple of people have, welcome. I'm a Safe for Work broadcaster. You can subscribe in confidence. I'll be in your sub feed all week doing gaming talk shows like this. You can treat me like a podcast or a radio show, highly interactive. And with me being safe for work, lots of people throw me on in the background of their day. And if you want to talk in chat, we welcome disagreement. You just can't insult me or the other people here. You got to hit subscribe if you want to talk in the chat. Subscribing is free. Joining as a member is what costs money, but that gets you into all the extra members content. Eugene says, I need 3 games. Starfield may be the determiner on whether or not I buy a Series X within the next 2 years. I need 3 games, says Eugene. That's my perception of Microsoft. Ninja Theory went from a killer hack and slash studio to nothing in a live service game that bombed. Wait, are you talking about the Ninja Theory that's making Hellblade 2? And that game isn't out yet, and it looks like it's going to be absolutely stellar on Unreal 5? Is that who you're talking about? What live service hack and slash are you talking about? You talking about Bleeding Edge? I don't know if we can lay Bleeding Edge at Microsoft's feet. I don't know if we can do that. I'm not willing to do that. Because everything we've seen about Hellblade 2 looks very promising. Nothing as in it has yet to release, and yes, Bleeding Edge. Yeah, I'm not putting that on Microsoft, though. I'm not. Because Ninja Theory came out and said they were being very slow with development of Hellblade because they wanted to get it right, and they were like going to all these on-site locations and recording, and they wanted to do Unreal 5. I 100% do not hang that on Microsoft. That was Ninja Theory's decision to do that. In fact, they may have gotten pressure from Microsoft to not do that. My first coffee order's out for delivery today. Any recommendations on how to put in a Keurig cup? I mean, if you have those reusable Keurig cups, you just put the amount in that you would put in a cup of coffee and then let it brew. However many cups it's going to brew, that's how much coffee you put in. Ghost in the Garage Gaming. You know you can't say anything critical about Xbox without their superfans getting butthurt. The fact is, you can be a fan and be critical at the same time. We know Bethesda's going to bet every time. Howard's going to keep being weird. To be honest, if they release the game and it's better than Fallout 76 was for like 10 months, it'll be considered a win. Maybe to the hardcore audience, I don't think Microsoft's going to consider that a win. The Bethesda Maryland team never failed to deliver. All their games have been nothing short of masterpieces objectively. I have complete faith in Starfield. Now, hang on just a minute. Hang on just a minute. Are you talking about the team that built Fallout 4 and Skyrim? Now, I will get in the ring and defend Skyrim. Sorry, I always say Skyrim. I will defend Skyrim to the death. It was a masterpiece. It was generation defining, and everyone looks back on Skyrim with amazing respect and admiration. Only haters try to act like Skyrim was so bad the modding community had to fix. Shut the frick up. That's not true. But Fallout 4, are you actually kidding me? Nothing short of a masterpiece? It was a good game, but I think that's got to be one of the most crazy overstatements I've ever heard about Fallout 4. It was a good game. It was, but it was riddled with bugs and riddled with problems, and it had issues. Shooting felt pretty, dated and not so great, but it's a great game that was riddled with problems. You can't call a game that launches in the state of Fallout 4 nothing short of a masterpiece. That's a huge overstatement. I've defended Fallout 4 in the past against negative overstatements that it was a broken game and it was unplayable until the modding community fixed it. Listen, you're just doing the same thing on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Calling it a masterpiece is on the same spectrum as the people that were like, it was so broken I couldn't play it and the modding community had to fix it. No, it was a perfectly good game. It was well worth playing when it came out. I really enjoyed the DLC. Okay? So, their reputation is fine. I don't think their reputation is masterpiece worthy of declaration. Morrowind and Oblivion and Fallout 3 were the last Bethesda games I like, says Eugene. Saying Fallout 4 is a masterpiece is like saying Chernobyl was just a minor misstep. Starfield modding must bring the Millennium Falcon. You might not even need modding to bring the Millennium Falcon. With the Starfield ship customization, just do it on your own. I think people got sick of having to re-release every other year for Skyrim. Well, of course, and they even made fun of themselves for that. I understand why they did it. It makes perfectly good sense to take such a massively successful IP and to, squeeze every last drop of juice out of the lemon. Like, I get it. I don't think it was necessarily, worthy of it every single time, but I do think people overstate how bad Skyrim was. I think they overstate how bad Fallout 4 was. I think Skyrim was absolutely stellar, and everybody remembers it as a fantastic work of art, right? But Fallout 4, not so much. And then the Starfield release date is in similar mind frame of like, is it going to launch like Fallout 4? Fallout 4 had excellent gameplay. Hate aside, nothing is perfect. Not even a 10 out of 10 game. Well, I mean, I'm gonna listen. I'm going to tell you right now, there are plenty of games that had excellent gameplay and launched in a way better state than Fallout 4, right? There's plenty of games that are large and substantive and RPG-driven that launched in a better state than Fallout 4. Games worthy of, 8.5, 9.5 scores that I would say, yeah, they crushed that game. No doubt. No doubt. What's today's conversation about? Today we're talking Starfield news. The latest, very nice haircut, thank you, Michael. The latest Starfield news is pretty concerning. I'll give you guys a recap. If you're just joining us, do me a favor, go through the ritual of smashing the like button, hitting the subscribe button, become a part of this great community. So what happened was, Gamescom is tomorrow. We will be covering it. If you want to watch Gamescom coverage, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, make sure you have notifications turned on. Make sure you're hanging out in the Discord so you don't miss my content. So Gamescom starts tomorrow. Bethesda starts sending out invitations and says, hey, come and watch Starfield gameplay and Redfall as well. And within probably the day that it got pushed out, they modified it. They suddenly were like, oh, hey, come watch a replay of the Xbox Bethesda showcase, which the optics on that is bonkers. Why would you go to a conference to watch a replay of a video you can watch right now on YouTube? And then just this morning when I was typing up my rundown and my notes for this show, it gets removed from the blog entirely. Both Starfield and Redfall just removed, which is incredibly concerning. It's like, the Starfield release date was originally set for November the 11th. You're in the middle, or you're in the end of August, during probably one of the more anticipated conferences. It used to be like E3, Gamescom, and PAX. So Gamescom's probably in the top 3. Lots of people go. And you didn't have anything ready for Gamescom? You don't have new gameplay? You don't have new B-roll? Nothing? A center stage, massively big title that's supposed to sort of be carrying Xbox next year. No, Gamescom starts tomorrow. We're kicking it off. We'll be co-streaming Jeff Keighley. He's got a ton of stuff. This is such an old gamer mindset. Why can't we hold Bethesda to higher standards? It's been 20 years, and them launching every game full of bugs and glitches. Other AAA release competent first players. Well, and a lot of people will say, like, I think the reason that the guy in chat, I believe his name was Hussein, I believe the reason he was bringing up the team that worked on Starfield and Fallout 4 is because Fallout 76 has soured a lot of people to Bethesda, but it was a different team. And I think people have every right to say, I don't give a frick if it was a different team. I don't care about that. You walked out and told me there was going to be 16 times the detail, and it was going to be at this level and this caliber, and it wasn't. It was a freaking garbage fire when it launched. Sure, it's great to understand that, like, oh, well, one of the reasons it might not have been as good is because it was a completely different team, but, like, you know what I'm saying? Saying other games have no bugs. I don't think anybody said that. I certainly didn't say that. If somebody in chat said it, I don't know why they would say that. I don't think... what I was pushing back on was the claim that Fallout 4 was a masterpiece. There are plenty of games that launched that are the size of Fallout 4, single-player RPGs, that were not even remotely in the same category of bug-riddled. Sure, day one patches. Sure, there might be little bugs here and there, but not like Fallout 4. That's what I was pushing back against. I wasn't saying every other game in the industry launches bug-free. I was saying there are plenty of games worthy of masterpiece praise that don't launch that buggy. Wolfenstein New Blood was terrible, and that was also by Bethesda, says T-Bone. What AAA games are as dense and open as Bethesda Open World RPG? Of course, there'll be more bugs than usual. They never released a broken game. They never released a broken game? So you don't think Fallout 76 was in a broken state when it launched? I don't think Fallout 4 would be described as broken. It's pretty dadgum close. It was pretty dadgum close. But Fallout 76... Are you absolutely kidding me? And do you want to know a game that was as big and as dense and not nearly as buggy as Fallout 4? It's real easy. Virtually every other action-adventure RPG with a big map that's launched in the last 5 years was 1,000 times better than Fallout 4 with respect to optimization and not being buggy. Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, all of these games were absolutely phenomenal and huge. And they were not bug-riddled, like, poorly optimized messes. Cyberpunk? No one's going to say Cyberpunk. Yeah, Cyberpunk would be an example of like a game that tried to do way too much and it was terrible at launch. Yo, DJ Steph hitting a 2-month milestone and it's a tier 2. We're trying to hit 100 tier 2 members. Guys, don't forget, this Friday night is community game night. We're playing Jackbox. You'll get the code early in a guaranteed spot as long as you're like the first 8 people to get in. If you're a tier 2, I'll put the code in the tier 2 chat first in Discord. So consider upgrading before Friday. Yeah, the Far Cry games. Yeah. Far Cry 3, 4, and 5. Huge games, huge maps. And they didn't have a bunch of crazy bugs. What's funny to me is that ism. Yeah, Horizon Forbidden West. Did I hear tier 2? Yeah, we're trying to hit tier 2, Mr. Glum, so then you have to upgrade. We need like 30-something people. We're stalled out at 69. Nobody wants to move the number. I think Bethesda is bug heavy, but I think they do good work. It's just something about their movement. It's just not good for me. Well, right. Like, I don't want this to sound like a bashing session. I'm not trying to say Bethesda creates terrible games. DJ Steph with a $10 tip through Super Chat. Thank you very much. That's very generous. I appreciate that. If you guys want to support this channel monetarily, we greatly appreciate you doing that. We do not run ads throughout the live streams. Usually when you're on YouTube, you're going to get an ad at the beginning, middle, and end of a stream, and we don't do that. We rely on Super Chats, memberships, coffee orders, and other things like that. At 69, I don't blame them. Yeah, I know. So I'm not trying to sit here and do a Bethesda bashing session. I'm merely pushing back on the notion that, like, having unwavering confidence in Bethesda because they just create nothing but masterpieces. I'm sorry, that's just like, you've gone full if that's your outlook. I'm not going in the other direction and saying they always launch completely broken games and they have to rely on the modding community to fix them. I think that's another extreme that just isn't true. Soldier on Music with a 17-month milestone. Just back from vacation. Hope all is well. Thank you for renewing, man. Welcome back. Really, no ads? You might get an ad when you click on the video, but I don't run ads during the live stream. If you're watching the VOD, you might get an ad, like if you're watching the past broadcast, but that's not a live stream, so you don't miss any content when that happens. So yeah, when we're live, I don't run ads. You might get one when you first click on the video, but that's not me doing that, right? Yo, James Carr doing a $10 tip through Super Chat. My man, thank you. Very generous. That's very kind. Are the bugs part of the charm, though? No, I don't agree with that. I do have to say Fallout 4 has some really cool mods. Yeah, the modding community is awesome. The modding community is awesome. Yeah, if you guys use the Epic Store, always remember to use my code Lono for the creator code thing. I've been watching Lono for over 2 years, I think. I can't remember one ad. Yeah, unless you first click and get a pre-roll ad. That's something that will happen. The modding community have been the reason why people play a lot of their older games like Skyrim. They do really good work. Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3 and 4 were all buggy as crap, says Odin's Might. I mean, I had to defend Skyrim the other day because, like, my memory of Skyrim was like it was like a generation-defining game and it was phenomenal and, like, everybody played it. And then, you know, I think people look back and they want to kind of, like, overstate how bad the bugs were. You know what I mean? Bugs, etc. were fine 10 or 15 years ago, says Eugene, when no one was making games like that. Yeah, when you're stretching the fabric of gaming reality and there's a few bugs, people are like, well, that's fine. I've never played a game this size and this scope before. You know what I mean? I sent my comment before I finished typing. I just fixed it. What's funny to me is I originally started Fallout 4 really close to release. It encountered bugs that actually ticked me off for a long time. Luck and being relatively new to Bethesda equals bliss. Right, like if you're not really familiar, you might not even know what's going on. You know, you might be... That's why when people told me, like, oh, Skyrim was so bad, I was like, man, I don't know, man. I had a great time with it, but I wasn't plugged in. I didn't check forums or YouTube back then. I'm wondering if Microsoft has those expectations of a masterpiece, though. I think most of us would agree that Bethesda makes great games, but there's always some Bethesda junk. Not sure if it's realistic to expect Bethesda to make a flagship product. I don't know. The makers of Skyrim and Fallout, we can't ask for a flagship product out of them? I don't know if I agree with that. They've been around for such a long time. They're veterans in the industry. Pretty sure Bethesda made a game with no character creator, lesser character choice, less build diversity, a smaller map, fixed armor sets, etc. Their games would be less buggy. I mean, maybe. Now, I would surely be disappointed, but that's balanced by knowing it's completely expected. Oh, if, like, you know that it's coming, if you know it's going to be a buggy experience. Even games like GoldenEye 007 had bugs. All games have bugs somewhere. Even Atari games have exploitable bugs. I think you're conflating bugs with exploits a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a big difference between, like, man, this game's buggy and runs poorly. There's all sorts of weird graphical things happening, and being like, well, you can exploit this really old Nintendo 64 game. I think bugs, aka broken game, become more of an issue if the gameplay is bad, says Hilly. I overlook most stuff if the expense is worth it. Yeah, I mean, I'll give an example. One of my favorite games is Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a sequel, and there was weird graphical stuff that happened with that game at launch. But I was having so much fun, and I love it so much, that I just kind of overlooked it and was like, well, they'll fix that later. Like, I will readily admit that, yes, my love for a game will make me kind of overlook that kind of thing. Like, oh, well, you know, what are you going to do? It's such an odd thing where bugs cause a game to typically get critically panned. Folks embrace the bugs in Bethesda games, and it sort of adds to the charm in a way. I hear people tearing AC Valhalla apart, but it was my favorite in the AC series. Yeah, I mean, the AC Valhalla is undeniably good, even if you don't like it. Like, look how well it's done all this time. Bethesda makes good games, and the community makes them great, says Mr. Glum. They need to set They need to set a new standard. Oh, set a new standard on a new engine. Skyrim is one of the best-selling games of all time for a reason. I had a terrible bug in The Last of Us 2. Ellie was playing a song, very emotional place and stuff, and she bugged like crazy. Still, the game is amazing. Assuming my game state for Fallout 4 imports without a hitch into my PS5, I'm going to finally try out some mods and see if I can tweak my way around a few permanent bugs in my wasteland. PS3 couldn't walk into Whiterun without a dead dragon falling on my head. People that don't like Valhalla are the people that wanted AC to stay the way it was in 1 and 2. They don't like the RPG aspects. Yeah, possibly. We have a ton of people here. Could we get 300 likes before the first hour? We stream for multiple hours. This talk show is just getting started. I haven't even used any of my backup questions because it's just been such a good conversation. Hit subscribe to join in the conversation. It's free to subscribe. Smash the like button. That's also free. We only need about 40 of you to do it, and that'll take us to 300. We are largely streaming to people who are already subscribed to the channel. We are not getting a ton of new subscribers this morning. So if you're a new subscriber, welcome. We'd love to meet you. There's actually mostly our core audience this morning, and that's amazing. That's super encouraging how many of you are tuning in throughout the week. Mr. Pineapple with a $10 tip through Super Chat. Honestly, the gameplay looks bland and basic. I don't even want to be mean, but I think they're promising too much, and they've gone down in quality a lot. Seems like it's too big for them to handle. I actually think the gameplay looks fine. I don't think it looks bland and basic. Life Flows with a $10 milestone of membership. Skyrim was great, but the mods can only add so much gameplay depth. It'd be hard to ever go back to vanilla. Oh, they do add so much gameplay depth. Sorry, I misread that. In other words, it's great fun in the traditional Saints Row way, and even better when experienced with a friend. Game Informer giving Saints Row a decent score. When's that game come out? Is it this week? As much as I love games like Breath of the Wild, Ghost of Tsushima, and Wild Hunt, I still go back to play Elder Scrolls and Skyrim over and over again. Their games are simply massive. Starfield gameplay doesn't look better or worse than Fallout 4 or Fallout 76. Bethesda does improvements, but over time, they're very trickle-like, incremental. They're not huge improvements. I will actually say that I disagree with what you're saying. I think Starfield gameplay looks significantly better than Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. I do think that it's reminiscent of those games, and there are things in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 that concern me when I see reminiscent shooting and gunplay. Like, the gunplay and the shooting feels very similar to, to Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. But I believe it looks better. I don't think I'm willing to agree with that and say, oh yeah, you're right. Starfield gameplay, it barely looks better than Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. So far, the gameplay that they showed with the shooting was pretty industry standard. I can't really judge it for anything so far. I'll enjoy it nonetheless. I would agree, but it doesn't seem like it doesn't catch your eye if you look at it, says Mr. Pineapple Gaming. Seems like your typical shooter with a jetpack. Even the gunplay looks average. Sometimes I wonder if... is that indicative of the fact that, like, what are you going to do with a shooter right now to make it stand out? Like, what are you going to do with a shooter? I just don't have an answer to make it stand out. You know? Lono, D2 streaming's never recovered. A lot of the old crew is gone. Do you ever feel any Schadenfreude? I don't know what you're trying to ask me. People have to keep scope, systems, and interactivity in mind when speaking about Bethesda. Most other RPGs are more on rails in comparison. Callisto Protocol? Yeah, that's early December. Why are you bringing that up? Exactly, Lono. I watched a streamer a week ago do a critical deep thought on the Starfield gameplay reveal. They were expecting a whole bunch of features that no other FPS or shooter has. Pleasure in others' suffering? No, I do not take pleasure in other people's misfortune. I take pleasure in truth and justice. So, however that nets out, yeah, I'll celebrate that, but I don't celebrate the suffering of others. That's twisted. If it took a year after launch for Starfield to be considered a masterpiece or a great game, is that a failure after fixing it? I mean, golly, that's such a hypothetical. So you're asking me if a year after Starfield release, is it considered a masterpiece? Is that a great game or is it a failure? I mean, I just don't think... I'm okay with the game owning its failures and fixing itself and getting back up on the horse, as No Man's Sky has done probably better than anyone ever in the history of gaming, okay? I think No Man's Sky is the archetype for a comeback story, okay? But I don't necessarily think we want to be giving a ton of room for that. Do you know? Like, well... You're going a little too far as a fan if you're like, it's okay if it launches and is crap and then it's good a year later. No. If it launches and has problems and they had to launch because of a deadline and they've got things they need to add later and they're committed and they fix it, right? They're telling me to run ads because we've been live for an hour, and right on time, a $10 tip from DJ Steph. Whoever said they don't like Valhalla because the RPG system, you're dead wrong. AC Origins was better than Valhalla. Also, AC Unity had an RPG system as well as Syndicate. There's a lot of people that don't like Valhalla because of its departure from the AC franchise. If we can get some more gifted members or super chats on the hour, we like to do that because I'm hoping to impress upon YouTube there are better ways to monetize videos than to slap ads in the middle of the video. So help me out with that. We just hit 1 hour on the stream. So the point that I was driving at is I want to leave space for a game to own its shortcomings and fix itself. But I don't want to be like, oh, that's totally fine if they do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's different. It would be like, I'm all about the redemption arc, okay? Like, my wife literally got me Charlie's ring from Lost. She got it for me for our anniversary. We hit 15 years of marriage this year because I'm all about a redemption arc. My own redemption arc is something that I like to talk about in certain contexts and changing my life and fixing things. And I like seeing redemption arcs in other people, right? Unlike how Twitter operates and cancel culture, like, you know, they don't like redemption arcs. They like to destroy people because they can't come to grips with their own failure and their own shortcomings, so they celebrate it and try to bring it about in others. So I'm all about redemption arcs. So yes, when I look at No Man's Sky, I say, holy moly, what a redemption arc. What a comeback. What ownership and integrity to just pick the game up and fix it, right? But that doesn't mean I'm going to be like, hey, go ahead and throw your life away. You can always have a redemption arc later, right? You guys hit 15 as well. Nice. Life flows with a $5 tip through Super Chat. A few more of these and you'll be able to buy a soda. Thank you. So, do you see the difference? Like, you don't celebrate Charlie's redemption in Lost and be like, you know what would be really great is if you went and got addicted to heroin and then had a redemption arc. No, that you wouldn't do that. You don't turn that into like a prescriptive thing. So I don't want to be like prescriptive and be like, oh yeah, because we've had so many great comeback stories in the gaming world, it's totally fine if Starfield launches and is like a weak 6 out of 10 and it takes them a year to get the thing back on the horse. Now, if they get the game back on the horse and a year later we're like, oh, it's a totally different game, good job, Bethesda, huge thumbs up, I'll do that, but I'm not going to be like, let's hope that happens, or let's be okay with that, or let's prescribe that as an industry standard. Because, listen, there's people out here, and I'm telling you, they need to be cuffed on the back of the head because they're stupid. They'll be like, if we support games like No Man's Sky, it's gonna be an industry standard that games just launch in their crappy state and then they'll just fix it later. No, they're not gonna do that, because 9 times out of 10 when a game launches in a crappy state, it doesn't ever get back to being fixed later, or it demolishes your stock value, CD Projekt Red, or it never truly ascends to greatness or even gets canceled, Anthem. There's plenty of games that are cautionary tales against being like, well, let's just do what they did. We'll launch a crappy game and fix it later. That's not going to be a business strategy of any company out there. And the people that are worried about that because, oh, a bunch of people continue to support No Man's Sky's redemption arc, well, that means tons of other games are going to do it. No. Plenty of games are still in the muck and the dirt, and they haven't climbed out, probably never will climb out. Yeah, Battlefield 2042 is another great example. It seems like that they intended to show gameplay at Gamescom, but in the last minute they had to bail because it was not ready. I don't think they intended to go to Gamescom and show old footage. But that's the concern, KB. Homie, what is going on with your game if its original intended release date was November and you don't have anything ready for Gamescom? What? You don't have another vertical slice? You don't have an EB roll? What's going on? This Starfield release date is written in ink, and less than a month later, oh, it's getting delayed. No date given. You're 2 months away. You're 2.5 months away from your original release date, and you don't have anything new to take to Gamescom? What are y'all doing over there? I'll tell you what they're doing. This is I think this is a concrete theory. The only way, or the most probable reason for a game company to go nose down and stop, not really worried about marketing and not really worried about pushing out new gameplay is because they're crunching. They're trying to get this thing ready to get out the door. They're in full crunch mode right now. I think that's the most probable explanation for why they're going to either skip Gamescom or not have new gameplay to show. They're crunching. And the reasons for the crunch, you could have a whole bunch of theories. I think it's because they're trying to optimize the thing for the Series S. And it was never intended to launch there to begin with. It was going to be a timed exclusive on PS5. It was going to be on PC. I think a year later, they were going to give themselves a year to kick it to the Microsoft platform, which meant they would have had plenty of time. They would have had plenty of time to do that. Transmissions from a Spaceboat hitting a 9-month milestone of memberships. Thanks for the streams. You make work week more bearable. Also, I got the Elden Ring achievement for 100% completion last night. Validate me. I mean, you are in a small group of people. Congratulations. There is not a lot of you in the world. That's good work. Starfield may suck, but in one of your streams you said something along the lines of maybe Bethesda is showing us bad gameplay, so when they actually release the game, it may surprise us. I mean, King Ghidorah, I'm all for leaving space for 900 IQ plays. And if that's their 900 IQ play to trot out gameplay that's not that impressive, and then to be like, surprise, and then the game launches and it looks incredible and all those problems are gone. Like, I left room for the same 900 IQ play from Sonic Frontiers, but I'm here to tell you I'm leaving room for that, not because I think it's likely or probable to happen. I'm leaving room for that because I'm just trying to leave all options on the table for possible explanations for what in the frick's going on, right? That's what I'm doing. I don't think that's a probable explanation because I have a hard time thinking that somebody in the marketing department convinces the higher-ups, like, guys, I got a crack squad idea here. Let's put out gameplay that doesn't look very good. They'd be like, what? Why would we do that? You're going to shake market confidence. You're going to worry the consumer. You're going to hurt sales projections and pre-orders. You're going to invite criticism and doubt. That consumer confidence needs to be high. Why in the frick we would do that? Well, later on when we finally release the game, it'll be way better and everyone's going to be, have their mind blown and it'll be this amazing, turnaround story. I don't think you're going to convince most people to do that. Michael says, I never understood the deal with Bethesda and Sony. Made no sense that they're releasing it on Series X now. Well, I mean, they're what do you mean? Microsoft bought them. Usually Todd doesn't like to show anything. If it was up to Todd, we wouldn't have seen Starfield at all. I mean, I get that strategy if you're going to wait until the 6-month runway, right? I remember people telling me, and they were saying, well, the reason we haven't seen any Starfield gameplay is because they like to wait until they're really, really close to the release window. Okay. Let's imagine that theory is sound. It stands to reason, then, that when they walked out in June, and they are now 5 months away from the release date of the game, to me, I would think you would have something for every single one of those months. You'd have a deep dive into a mechanic. You'd have a deep dive into combat or something, or ship combat, or, every month you'd have something coming out. Because it's like, hey, we're 5 months away, so month number 4, 3, 2, 1. You'd have like 4 more videos ready, ready to go, ready in the pipeline. They were doing videos all the time on their YouTube channel about the game. And so I'm like, okay, you got within 5 months of the original planned release window, and you apparently don't have any gameplay ready for Gamescom? Why? Now, let's throw out a theory. What if the game was originally slated and their project was set up to be a timed PS5 exclusive and it was going to be on PC? And all of their gameplay footage, their B-roll, all their vertical slices, all their trailers were all built for that ecosystem. Well, guess what? You can't use any of that because now you're a Microsoft exclusive. Anything you built for Sony, any of the menus, any of the UIs, any of the overlays, any of the footage you might have been working on, any of those vertical slices, you got to throw them out. You got to throw them out because you can't use them now. It's an Xbox exclusive. So it's very possible that the Microsoft Bethesda acquisition really, really fiddled with the development of Starfield. That's 100% true. You want to release gameplay or new things for the game to show progress and ensure the community that the game is in good health. There was no deal, says T-Man Grove. There were discussions on it being a PS5 timed exclusive that obviously ended with the Microsoft purchase. That's my understanding. I'm just trotting out theories that if that actually was going on, that could explain some of what's happening. Good morning, Lono. Love waking up every weekday morning to hear your awesome voice. Thanks, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Table JFK. Should we be worried about Ragnarok? We haven't seen gameplay in a while. No, we shouldn't be worried about Ragnarok. Ragnarok showed us gameplay. Then they did an accessibility blog showing all the cool features with a couple of new shots that had been updated that looked graphically better than the first time they showed us stuff. Then they announced the release date. Then they've done pretty regular pressers since. They did that one recently, which was like a God of War story so far. Cory Barlog recently tweeted, told everybody just to chill, and then everybody got worried that it was going to get delayed. He replied to his own tweet and said, no, it's not getting delayed. I'm just telling everybody to chill out, right? And keep in mind that God of War Ragnarok will likely be showing up very, very soon in a Sony State of Play. And I don't know if they don't show up at Gamescom. The only reason I think that would be the case is because Sony's like, no, we're gonna wait and do our own State of Play, right? Because they're doing them once a month, and there's a pretty good leak right now that September the 8th, September the 8th will be the next Sony State of Play. Ragnarok's playable right now. Yeah, I mean, according to people who have worked on the game, it's a playable game right now. Could be as simple as walking up a ladder. I think it's funny that we heard more about Starfield from Xbox guys and girls before they showed gameplay than we do after they showed gameplay, even though they know it wasn't a great mind-blowing showing. Just a question. Yeah, I'm not worried about Ragnarok, Snake Eyes, because they have said way too many times it's not getting delayed, it's not getting delayed, it's not getting delayed. And when you're going to have a lack of gameplay showcase from Sony, you just have to wait and see, like, is it related to a state of play? Does that make sense? Like, if they're saving it for a state of play, then there's no worry, there's no concern. The thing with Starfield is Microsoft doesn't do monthly streams. They're not doing something every 30 days that would make sense of it. Listen, if Microsoft was doing monthly streams called, like, hey, it's our monthly Xbox showcase, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe they don't want to go to Gamescom. Like Tenor, I think it was Tenor Dude, said earlier, maybe Microsoft just wants to control all the messaging. They don't want anybody else talking about the game, just them. Right? Okay, maybe. If they were doing some kind of a monthly stream, if they were doing some kind of a monthly thing like that, I would be like, okay, maybe that makes sense as to why they're not going to Gamescom. We all know God of War will be amazing. I mean, I don't like talking like that. We don't know that. You can be confident that it's going to be really good, like based on what you've seen and based on how good 2018 was, but we don't know that. Starfield actually studied flight space mechanics with NASA. I think they're all in with this game. The game will show Bethesda's true potential. I mean, I hope you're right, Brock. I hope you're right. Because Microsoft could use a win after Infinite. They could use a win. And I think we're all in a better place when we get really, really good RPGs like that. Does Microsoft even push blogs? Yeah, they do blogs here and there. They do. They do. If you're just tuning in, the latest Starfield news is related to Gamescom, and they had a blog post where they were inviting people to come see Starfield gameplay, and then they updated the blog and said, oh, it's actually going to be just a replay of the Microsoft Bethesda showcase, which is kind of an odd choice. And then just this morning, as I was typing up my rundown, PCGamesN.com caught and realized that they had completely removed Starfield and Redfall from the blog. They just removed them altogether. It's my understanding Xbox is going to have another update or showcase style event in October or November. I didn't realize they were planning on doing that. I mean, I could see them saying, let's wait and do it on our own so we can really, own the attention. We can really own the messaging and not have an interview go sideways on us or something. I don't know. Microsoft is purposely handicapping all their games so that Fable can wow the crap out of us when it's perfect, says Tony. It makes a lot of sense. I'm excited for Ragnarok and would like to see more before release. As a PlayStation fan, I hope Starfield nails it. I want the Xbox guys to have an amazing game to sink their teeth into. Well, and to be quite honest, anytime Xbox has a good first-party title, that's good for the industry because that puts that pressure on Sony to do their own good work, right? You got to do your own good work. You can't flub your first-party titles if your competitor's doing a good job. You're going to look foolish. That's one of the reasons this year I think is kind of a tough year for Microsoft because Sony's bringing some heat this year. They're having some big drops. And listen, as a Microsoft fan, that's good. That's good. You want that pressure to be there for Microsoft to really turn up the heat and the money and the investment in first-party titles. You want God of War Ragnarok to go nuts and be amazing, or Forbidden West to go nuts and be amazing. That actually helps you. Like, I think that's one of the grand ironies is like people that are cheering for Sony to fail or for Microsoft to fail, you don't really quite understand what you're doing. Is you're actually cheering for, you know, a degradation of the market that would not be good for you in the long run. Competition is good, iron sharpens iron, right. Bethesda's a decent studio, but they're not what I consider best in the industry. They don't have the same level of polish as Activision Blizzard. I mean, lack of polish, I don't know if I would run to Activision Blizzard for polish. I mean, I could think of maybe other studios, because they're just so, Activision Blizzard is just so big. I mean, going to them for polish, as an example, just feels odd to me. I think people should temper their expectations for Ragnarok. Not everything we are expecting will be in the game, and it puts too much pressure on the devs. Oh, it wouldn't surprise me at all if I have people that come in here a week after Ragnarok came out, and they're like, being, you know, I just thought it was going to be better, you know, and those, I don't think you can satisfy those people. I think there are people who derive enjoyment from being negative and like unsatiable, like they can't be pleased. It's almost like their enjoyment is derived from that. That's part of how they engage with gaming, is they have this inflated sense of superiority and judgment, and everything they touch just isn't as good as they think it should be. It makes them feel sort of self-important. It makes them feel smarter than other people. It's almost like they're more in tune to reality. They you know, they're more dialed into in all these other people are sheep. Like, that's definitely, I think, an element in gaming, in the gaming world. I think there are people that they approach a game and that's what they're looking for. What can I find here that's massively disappointing? What can I find in here that's just a huge letdown? If God of War got delayed, it would ruin the game industry. This year, so many games have been delayed. To give God of War its space, it would suck to have it get delayed and ruin to the lead up to Christmas. Yeah, I can't see it getting delayed. Too many signs have pointed to that game being ready to go. Saints Row is getting hammered. It looks rough. I mean, Game Informer gave it an 8.5. And then Ars Technica says it's an open world mess beyond redemption. Saying the presentation materials could have had PlayStation elements in them, such as the insert button to perform an action. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying that. I was like, they might have had a lot of stuff cooked up and ready to go for PlayStation, and they had to rip it all out. It looks really rough. You're right, though. Polish is definitely not their strong point. I hope the delay for Starfield was for optimization. Story, music, and immersion are Bethesda's strong points. Starfield will be the pinnacle of these attributes. I don't know why people talk like that. I just don't know why you talk like that. You think it's going to be the pinnacle of story, music, and immersion. The pinnacle. What? What are you talking about? Music? They have pretty good music in Skyrim. I don't know if Fallout 4 is known for its music. I don't know, man. Like, as far as immersion and story, really? You think like the story in Fallout 4 is the pinnacle of storytelling? Immersion? I don't know, man. I don't think they're at the pinnacle of any of those categories. Looking fresh with the trim. Thank you. I trimmed up the beard too. I think Bethesda games are in the pinnacle of being good long-form RPGs. That's what I think they're good at. They're good at having a long-form RPG. They're like being the pinnacle of music and story and immersion. I don't think I would ever think of Bethesda if somebody said, what's one of the most immersive games with a great story and great music? I'd be like, Hellblade, Ghost of Tsushima, Red Dead Redemption 2, The Witcher 3, You know what I'm saying? Those are the games I would pick for games that are at the pinnacle of storytelling, immersion, and music. I wouldn't pick a single Bethesda title for those categories. Skyrim theme is nice, but that's it. From Software games music. Yeah, From Software soundtracks are always nuts. VATS was totally immersive. What do you mean? I was never totally just taken away with the Bethesda story like I was with old BioWare games, but Bethesda games are just fun to play no matter how old they are. Maybe Bethesda used Fallout 76 as an example as not what to do, but I think God of War 4 had the best story so far. Yeah, you want to talk about... I intentionally avoided God of War 2018 because I didn't want to be accused of being a fanboy. But you want to talk about one of the best games with respect to like story and music. Come on, dude. God of War 2018 is phenomenal. Shooting mechanics so bad they built in a cheat mode. The VAT system. Eugene says the shooting mechanics are so bad they built in a cheat mode. That's rude. YouTube Lurker just gifted 5 members. Guys, if you can hear my voice, click allow gifts in the chat. Let's see these get grabbed really, really quickly. Very, very kind and generous to gift those memberships. If you are a member, be sure to get into the Discord. We do members content every day as well as Friday nights. This Friday night is community game night. We're doing Jackbox. You don't need to have it installed. You just need a spare phone or iPad to play. You just go to a website and put in a code and you can play with us. So make sure you're here for that. Tier 2 members will get access to be a part of Jackbox first. Anybody can play. There's no limit on the number of people that can play, but there's like 8 players that get in, and then everybody else is playing as an audience member. So, there we go. Yeah, the gifted members just take a little bit longer to roll out. Wayne Dickerson grabbed one of the 5. Would love to see the rest of these 5 get grabbed. Thank you again, YouTube Lurker, one of the more generous people here, constantly gifting members. We're setting our sights on 2,000 members. If you've never done a membership before on YouTube, it's $5 a month. Supports the stream directly. It helps us not to need to run ads. It helps us do more things. And we do lots of members-only content. Yo, Comfy Wizard snagged one of the memberships. We're at 1,240. So we dip below 1,300 members. We have dipped below 1,300 members. So both gifted and new members alike help us keep the member count in a good place. We really would love to hit 2,000. We're going to launch a special thing, a special monthly watch party if we hit 2,000. Well, let me get one. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like 2 out of 5 got grabbed. If we end the day, they'll get emailed to people who are super loyal. We've had people say, hey, I got an email. Friday night, somebody tuned in. They're like, I got an email after you shut down for the day, and I got one of the memberships. Like, I'm not sure what's happening. Salty says, although I'm sure Eugene knows this, the VAT system is from the original Fallout games. They allowed you to target specific points of enemies and specific effects. Yeah, the VAT system was not something that they added because, like, the shooting mechanics weren't in a good place. The VAT system was in Fallout 4 because it had been in all of the games because they were doing things that, wasn't really in other games up to that point. Dr. Dinglenut says, I got an email for a membership last week. Okay, so they're still getting distributed to people that are supposed to get them, but it's just so bizarre. It's so bizarre that how are there not people in chat right now that are more deserving? I don't know how they determine that. Whatever metric they're using, it feels a little counterproductive. Like in my mind, I don't know. In my mind, you need to be doing the people that are in the chat, not people like that's great. Like if Dr. Digglenut is like super duper loyal and he happens to not be here, on a day, and so they email him. Like I think that's great, but at the same time, I'm also kind of like, how are there not people in chat that day that are as loyal as him and they're actually in the chat? I don't know. I see both sides of the blade. Fallout was always great open world, but Skyrim progressed and improved Bethesda's single-player campaign. Half the time I felt like I wandered without purpose in Fallout, but never Skyrim unless wanted to. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think when you just make a really, really big open world, I was talking about this with Andrew Schwab over the weekend because we're still working on the project and podcast that we want to launch for you guys. It'll probably be launching... I'm thinking it's going to launch in October. Anyways, we were talking about some automated AI thing that's like creating artwork. And I told him, I said, you know, that people talk about that in gaming all the time, you know, handcrafted versus procedurally generated. Like you can tell when a piece of artwork has just been sort of, you know, artificially created. It lacks that handcrafted feel and that handcrafted polish. So I do think that the nature of handcrafted versus that, sometimes an open world can feel like that. It's just this big, giant, humongous place with no direction. There's no linear thrust. You know what I mean? And you're just sort of like, where am I going? What am I doing? There almost has to be it's like you got to put carrots out there in the world to create organic distraction. Like organic distraction. A great example is Breath of the Wild. You're just sort of wandering the world and you're like, what's that? Oh, that's a shrine. You're on your way to the shrine. You're like, oh, what's that? That's a crack in the wall. Maybe I should bust that open with a bomb. Oh, what's in here? What's over there? Oh, this looks like a puzzle. Oh, is that? I bet you there's a Kakarot seed there. Like, you almost have to create... It's like you're creating hidden linear thrusts so that you do sort of move in a direction and feel a sense of like a sense of achievement and a sense of accomplishment, and yet you're not being told where to go. With regards to Starfield, what are your thoughts on creatures for the planets? Do you think they're going to do what No Man's Sky does and randomly generate ones, or are they being designed individually? I think it's a blend of handcrafted and procedurally generated. So I think some planets and animals will be handcrafted and some will not be. That's what I think. Witcher does the same thing as well, says Horrifics. What, they blend linear and free exploration really well? Is that what you're saying? That's what he titled his video. Skill up review is up. The game is butt, right. Saints Row actually looks worse than Saints Row 2 by the mechanics and designs. Yeah, it's getting pretty shredded. That's a sweet spot. I don't want to be on rails, but I don't want to be wandering the wilderness clueless either. Yeah, I mean, there was times where the freedom in Breath of the Wild could be really irritating because you would take a really, really long time to go all the way across this place, and then you'd be like, what the frick's going on? I can't do anything, or I need this suit, or the enemies are too hard, or whatever the frick. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes the freedom in Breath of the Wild could, like, rub me the wrong way. It was kind of like, come on, man. Like, I just wasted an entire play session. I achieved basically nothing. I do think there's elements sometimes to those games that can make people feel that. They're like, well, I didn't even get anything accomplished, dadgummit. DP Sage, morning Lono. Thank you for the $5 tip, DP Sage. Just watched Skillup's review on Saints Row, and yeah, I kind of figured it was going to be bad. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that very, very much. Welcome on in. Elden Ring didn't seem to have that problem with most people. Freedom in Breath of the Wild completely rubbed me the wrong way. That game, in my opinion, was a running simulator. So I was letting my son play it on PC, and I turned on infinite stamina, and boy, oh boy, does it make a huge difference in the early game, just being able to run and climb wherever you want. Like, holy moly. Like, he was having so much fun. There's definitely times where that game doesn't tell you anything, like, how do I get the clothing to go into this incredibly hot place? And it's like, well, if you didn't talk to that one guy on the road, then you won't know. And it's like, well, okay, how did I know to do that? Like, you know what I mean? Not even the slightest nudge of, hey, this place is a little too hot. You should go look for, you know, I don't know. you should go look for so and so. You should go back to like a clue, a hint. Now maybe there was clues and hints. Maybe there were, and maybe I missed them. But that's one of the problems, is if you miss the clues and you miss the hints, then you're kind of done. Like, you're just going to be stuck and not know what to do, and not know, like, this place is so hot. How on earth can I get there? How on earth can I go there? I think that is an issue with Breath of the Wild sometimes. Like, you're trading freedom for linear direction, and sometimes I think there's negatives that come along with that. Open world definitely helped and hurt Elden Ring. Oh, for sure. For sure it did. I like that, though. Games that just give you direction, you got to explore yourself to find stuff and not miss out. But then again, I explore too much, and I never take roads that people may be on. Yeah, the weird thing that they did, with Breath of the Wild was, it seemed like some of the things were happenstance. Now, there's something cool about that, because if you do run into that guy and you do find that guy, it does, I think, create this living world thing where you're like, oh my gosh, that was so organic and so genuine, that it gives the game a cool feeling of genuine discovery. But if you don't find that guy and you piddle away hours trying to figure it out, I don't know. I think there's a breaking point where somebody might say, this is stupid, just tell me what to do. I don't think Starfield's going to be that way. I think Starfield's going to have that linear story thrust if you're looking for it. Find out if you can split screen. Yeah, there's a way to do it, and then I have to get like a secondary piece of software to put it one on each monitor. And then the real problem is that the second player's inventory is really weird, and pausing is really, really weird, and I gave up. It saved the day on Saturday, like my son's playing, and then my daughter can play Kirby on the Switch. So it kind of saved the day on the weekend. So other than that, I think I'm giving up on playing Breath of the Wild co-op. It just doesn't seem to be worth it. I need it to be seamless and fun, and it's going to be extremely frustrating if we're constantly tripping on the menu and tripping on the inventory and everything else. The Outer Worlds is like that. Make sure you talk to all the NPCs. Yeah. I think Starfield gameplay is going to be like that. You're going to go to a town, you're going to go to an outpost, and you're really going to feel that motivation to talk to everybody. And then there's going to be people like me that don't really want to do that. You know what I mean? You quit Elden Ring after defeating Radon. I mean, you probably played the best part of the game. The best part of Elden Ring is the first half. There's probably people that disagree with me. I think the back half of Elden Ring is just not that enjoyable. I only remember Breath of the Wild being that way with side quests. The main storyline was pretty straightforward. I think Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild did open world great. Witcher 3 was too much with all of the points of interest on the map. Skyrim had the best balance of linear and non-linear exploration in open world games, in my opinion, says Ghost. Yeah, I actually think Starfield's going to feel really, really linear, personally. Could we get 400 likes on this video? I bet you we could. We only need about 50 more likes. There's got to be 50 people in chat that haven't smashed the like button yet. YouTube is still not putting us in search results as far as I can tell. So if you found my video today, you probably found it on your homepage. You may have found it as a recommendation. So if you are a newer viewer of my content, well, according to Incognito, we are in... We're if you just search Starfield, we're number 4. If you search Starfield News, we're number 2. So maybe it's just because nothing major has happened that I think a lot of people were probably anticipating tomorrow, like maybe hearing stuff at Gamescom, and then people would be searching for it. But a lot of you found my video today either on your homepage or a recommendation. So if you clicked on me today for that, if you were looking for the latest Starfield news, happy to have you here. If you want to know why I'm concerned, why my thumbnail says that this is concerning, I'd be happy to give you a too long didn't read. If you want to know, what we're talking about, I will do that for you. We always love to meet new people, new community members. And a great way to do that is to click subscribe and start talking in the chat. Reforge Gaming is where you are, and this channel does a live show Monday through Friday. Well, we do multiple live shows a day. We're going to be taking a look at the Black Myth Wukong gameplay today as well. Really excited to break that down with you guys. Really hoping that game continues to deliver on its promises, because I actually think it looks very, very good. So, hoping they can build it and deliver it. I think there was a time there where they were looking to increase their staff. I think they were worried about bandwidth. I dual wielded 2 giant crushers in Elden Ring and just smashed everyone. Some of the quicker bosses were tough though. About linear natures of games, they claim that you'll be able to be pretty open and free to progress how you want to. Personally, I think it requires a little more clarification on that front. I'm fairly certain the way they've talked about that game and the way they've talked about the story in Starfield, you're going to be able to just literally straight run through it if you want. Nice cut, G. Thank you, Heavy Metal Mama. Trying to activate the festival for Radon was unbelievably complex. That was almost the breaking point for me to quit the game. Yeah, especially considering everybody was looking forward to fighting him, especially after everything we saw. He was central in a lot of the marketing. Yeah, I could see that being an issue. That's how Oblivion and Skyrim was, though. You would just go and talk to this person in this town if you wanted, but then the world just fully opens. I think that'll be Starfield. Yeah, I think if you just want to straight run through the Starfield campaign, you're going to be able to. I think you're going to be able to just run straight through it. If you're like, yeah, I'm going to go from quest to quest to quest to quest, I bet you're going to be able to do that. You got your 4 main cities, your 4 main planets, or no, 8 or whatever they said. I forget the number. I think 4, maybe 5 main cities, main hub planets. I bet you that if that's how you want to play, you'll be able to do that if you'd like. So, we are getting some people today in the stream who are looking for Gamescom coverage. We will be co-streaming Gamescom live tomorrow, Jeff Keighley's kickoff event, and then the rest of the week we'll announce to you what we think we're going to cover. I'm going to try and get a beat on the schedule this week. Tomorrow's really easy because Keighley kicks everything off at like 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you're looking for Gamescom coverage, we will be covering that. We are getting some people in the stream looking for that. The reason we're covering Starfield news is because they were supposed to be there. They said they were going to be there. They were telling people to tune in for Starfield gameplay along with Redfall, and then they said, just kidding, it'll be a replay of the Xbox Bethesda showcase. And then just this morning, that was removed from the blog, and PCGamesN.com is where I got my info on that. I went to type up my report this morning, and they had like a 45-minute old article, and I was like, okay, let's see what they have to say. And they were like, new update, it's just been completely removed. So maybe they have nothing at all that they want to show for Starfield and Redfall. I swear to frick, if in Starfield the story is about me finding my dad or son again, I'm boycotting Bethesda. That's what I'm seeing, says P. Dudley. It sounds like a lot of people are just unsure what is expected. Yeah, with respect to like story progression, yeah, I mean, I can see that. I think anytime you're looking at an RPG like this, I think that's going to be a question that people have. They're going to want to know, is this game gonna land in a traditional setup? Is it gonna land in sort of a more straightforward? Is it gonna feel aimless? Is it gonna feel so big that my decisions feel entirely futile? I think that's always a question. Burying the player in futility. If the game feels so big that they feel almost swallowed by it, then yeah, I think that can be an issue for some people. They're like, it's almost as if my decisions don't matter. There's 2 ways to make a player feel their decisions don't matter. Number 1, everybody ends up in the same place with the same build and the same skill tree. So it's like you chose to upgrade this skill instead of this skill, but by the end of the game you have them all anyway. Right? And everybody generally has the same experience. That's a really easy way to make people feel like their decisions don't matter. Another way to make people feel like their decisions don't matter is to make the game so big that their decisions seemingly don't have an impact on what's going on, you know? And I think the greater challenge for Starfield is the latter. You know? That's the greater challenge. Is that you end up feeling like you're not really impacting anything that's happening. Like the game is just so big and lacks depth that it'll make you feel very futile in your decision making. You know, I think of the two possibilities, I think that's the most concerning. Sorry for being late to the party. What's the concerning news? What's good, JW? So the Starfield news, or I guess the Starfield update that I found to be concerning was over the weekend, it became known that Starfield was going to show gameplay at Gamescom. And then they updated their blog post and they said it's actually going to just be a replay of the Xbox Bethesda showcase. And then just this morning, they deleted that entirely from the blog. Which, does that mean Starfield and Redfall are going to have literally no showing at Gamescom? Are they trying to surprise people? Were they worried about the optics of, like, hey, we're going to show gameplay, but maybe we shouldn't have told people it's just a replay of another showcase that they can go watch right now? So I think the most likely outcome is that they end up just showing the footage from the Xbox Bethesda showcase, but they don't want to tell people ahead of time. The news is no big deal. I mean, you're welcome to that opinion. I actually happen to feel differently about it. I feel like it's concerning. This game was supposed to be launching in November, and a few months prior to that, you don't have anything loaded and ready to go for Gamescom. Just feels incredibly strange to me. That doesn't sound like a game that was ready for November, and then they suddenly had to delay it. That sounds like a game that's having either problems or is mired in crunch for whatever reason. Why would they be mired in crunch? You know, if this thing was slated for November. Makes me wonder if it's going to get delayed again. I don't think it's going to get delayed again. I think, and everybody's going to say I'm just being a hater, I think this adds credence to my theory about the game being mired and stuck in the we have to get this thing to run on the Series S, right? I think that's what's happening, personally. Like, if they were slated for November and then suddenly realized that wasn't going to happen, I think the most likely explanation is optimization for the Series S. I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. Was this an Xbox or Bethesda blog from them, or is this a third-party source? My understanding from others is that Starfield is not going to Gamescom. I mean, I'll pull up my source from this morning, and I'll tell you, because I think they linked to it. Could be a trick, get everybody angry, and then actually show surprising footage. As previously reported... Where is it? However, this post has been updated. It's a Bethesda post. Bethesda.net. Bethesda at Gamescom. Yeah, that's the post that has been updated. So it's an official Bethesda post. So it's not some Gamescom intern that misfired and made a mistake on the Gamescom website. It's not somebody on Twitter who shot off an image. It's an official post on the Bethesda website. Right? So I think that theory's kind of out, right? That theory's kind of out the door. That somebody misfired on the wrong end of the spectrum. It's like, no, you've got somebody at Bethesda typed up a blog post and said it was an invitation. They were basically saying, hey, come and see Starfield gameplay and Redfall gameplay. Now, many people were thinking, oh, it's going to be Starfield new gameplay. That's what people were thinking. They were thinking, oh, it's going to be new Starfield gameplay. It's not going to be the stuff we've already seen, you know, because it's a new showcase. And so they didn't say that though, but that's what people were presuming. So then they clarify and they're like, we're going to be rewatching what was shown at the Xbox Bethesda showcase, which that sounds like a rash reaction. It's like, whoa. Quick. Update that blog. No. We're not doing new gameplay. We're doing the stuff from the Xbox Bethesda showcase. And then once that gets out there, then the dialogue starts to become, why on earth would you do that? What would be the purpose of that? You're saying, hey, come watch. We're going to be at Gamescom and we're going to show something you can go watch right now. Like, you could literally go to YouTube and you could type in Xbox Bethesda Showcase and you could see the footage. Why would you bother tuning into Gamescom? So I think the most likely outcome is they re-show the stuff from the Xbox Bethesda Showcase. They re-show it, and that's what they're doing. But they don't want to tell people that's what they're doing because they want people to tune in. They want, reasonable metrics. Delay, just a gut feeling. You think another delay? I don't think that's what's happening. All right, chat. Do you think Matasbo is right? Does this point to another delay? Is there going to be another Starfield delay? And if so, when do you think it's going to get delayed to, Matasbo? What are you thinking? Like late? You thinking late in next year instead of early next year? Like they're going to kick it all the way to fourth quarter? What are they going to go for November again? That would be my question. When on earth are you going to do it? Can't delay when you don't have a date. But Tasbo is obviously right. 2023 or 2024. They gave themselves enough room, I think, says Creature, but it wouldn't shock me, though. I just don't know. I mean, I know we don't have a release date, but didn't they say everything shown in the Xbox Bethesda Showcase was launching in the next 12 months, which means Starfield has to launch by June of next year for that statement to be true? So that's a roundabout release date, but that's a release window. That's a release window. So if Starfield gets bumped to the end of next year, then that's a delay. That's an assurance that they gave us that gets walked back. Important. Forward split. You have an important message to view this message. Oh. Are they doing another one? Are they splitting Tesla again? Redfall's ready to go. I see confidence from Arcane. We were going to cover that video, but my goodness, the interest in Redfall is just so low. We see whose checks cleared and those who didn't. Yeah, those Saints Row reviews. Game Informer, Press Start, PC Games N, 8.5, 7.7, and then IGN 6, Inverse 6, GameSpot 6, Well Played 5, VG 24/7 3 out of 5, Hardcore Gamer 3 out of 5, Kinda Funny, VGC and EGM 2 out of 5, OC 65 from 42 critics, Metacritic 67 from 16 critics. Getting blasted. According to Google, Microsoft Gaming has confirmed that the Starfield release date is set for the first half of 2023. The new RPG was originally scheduled to release on November 11th, although a Starfield delay was announced back in May. I'm not even concerned with if any single game gets delayed. There's just so much to play on the market, I can already barely keep up. Thanks for the quote tweet on my coffee pick. Oh, thank you for doing the coffee pick, JW. It's always good for people to see, happy customers in pictures, It's always good for people to see that. Lewis says, We have not given Bethesda enough flack on the qualities of their games on release. Bethesda jank shouldn't be an excuse for poor optimization, and here we are with another Bethesda game to worry about. Do you think the Microsoft acquisition of Call of Duty will go through? Sony made a statement that Call of Duty is too big and it pushes anti-competitive nature through the console industry. I've covered that in 2 different videos, so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole today. You just finished your light roast? Thank you, man. Guys, order some coffee. People in chat will tell you it's not a sponsor. It's our coffee. It's in my house. We ship it to you. Reforge roast. We have a light roast and a dark roast. If you've never tried coffee with balanced acidity, you should be trying our coffee. Very drinkable for new coffee drinkers, and very, very. It's going to become your go-to coffee if you're a hardcore coffee drinker. Yeah, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Nikhil, it's probably Mikhail. Is it Nikhil Shetty? I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but essentially, Microsoft agreed with Sony and said that Call of Duty is too big to go exclusive. It wouldn't be profitable for them to make Call of Duty exclusive. So Sony's concerns were valid and responded to. Any update on the new bag launch? We'll be putting in our Frickmas blend order probably sometime this week, and then that'll be the first coffee in the new bag, where it's printed on the bag. It's a resealable bag, so our coffee bag quality is about to go way up, and that coffee will be available in November. That'll be our holiday blend. SkillUp's review is literally titled "Saints Row is terrible" review. Sony exclusives are overrated. Says every time someone says that, I put money on the table that you've never played them. I don't bother playing them. Yeah, so your opinion on them doesn't matter. You might as well tell me what you think of this pizza restaurant that you've never gone and had the food at. Like, who gives a crap what you think? Like, if you told me that pizza shop's overrated, really, why? I don't know. I've never bothered to eat there. Then shut the frick up. That's a gifted? Definitely a gifted. As long as the flat rate shipping can still fit 3 bags otherwise, you and I have issues. No, yeah, 3 bags will always be in the flat rate. Yeah. Shocking, another liar. Yeah. Lono's mom's cooking is overrated. Yeah. Is it that time of the stream? We made it really far. We made it really far today, Weez. You know? I've never had anybody who's actually experienced a PlayStation exclusive title say, I just think they're overrated. I've never had anybody say that with a straight face. Meanwhile, I'm over here seething that I can't get a PS5. I won't tell you about how I set up my second one in my living room, Lewis. I won't tell you about that. What did I get back to? I mean, listen, I don't care if someone plays an exclusive and then they say, I didn't like it and here's why, right? Like, if somebody played a Sony exclusive and they're like, here are all the reasons I didn't like the game, I'd be like, that's fine. But for somebody to be like, Sony exclusives are overrated. Oh, really? All of them are overrated? Why? Well, I've never bothered to play any of them. Well, then shut up. Like, why would... No one cares what you think then. Like, no one cares what you think then. Like, I talk about how I don't like Horizon Zero Dawn, and I've tried it twice now. Yeah, there are plenty of people who own PlayStations that don't like Horizon or Horizon Forbidden West. It just didn't hit them in the right way. Right? I liked Horizon Forbidden West, but I didn't give it a glowing review. I gave it a solid review. But I didn't come out of my skin for that game. I didn't. I thought it was great. But I didn't give it like this overwhelming, hyped up, glowing review. I probably had 7 good things to say and 2 to 3 bad things to say about Forbidden West. I don't have any problem with that at all if somebody actually plays the games and they have issues with them. But, you know, you're overrated. Well, how many of them have you played? None of them. Okay, great. Good to know your opinion doesn't matter then. That's not even an opinion, really. That's not. Like, that's a misuse of the word opinion. How can you have an opinion on something you've never consumed? I think that beer tastes terrible. Oh, really? Why? Is it too hoppy, too bitter, too watered down, too strong? Is it... Oh, I've never tried it. What? Well, then that's not an opinion. What? You're talking... That's nonsensical. It doesn't even make any sense. Like, it's truly illogical. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee, 3 dark roasts, and they ordered a black mug. I'm sorry, a Team Dark black mug. My man. Who else other than Zubair? He ordered a Team Black mug, because we know it's a Team Black. Team Dark. It's a Team Dark black mug. We have... All the mugs are black, I think. A Team Dark black mug, not Team Black. Zubair's like, what are you doing to me? I deal with a lot of people who comment on stuff they haven't seen, read, or heard. I always ask, have you consumed the media we're discussing? Right? Team Red. Yeah. Horizon Forbidden West failed to hold my interest as barrier. A little over halfway through, I was just rushing to complete the story, so I would feel like I got my money's worth. Was that it? Did you play Elden Ring, Barrier? I feel like that was in relation to Elden Ring, because I felt the same way. If Forbidden West would have launched, and I had a solid 2 months before anything else, I don't think I would have felt that feeling, that like, gotta get through it. I feel like Elden Ring played a part. You know, I'm not going to hold that against them. Yes, and I devoured it. Okay, sorry. There's a bias there. We exposed a bias, you know. Why'd you feel like you were rushing just to get your money's worth? Well, because you had your eyes set. It's that meme where the guy's walking with his girlfriend and he's turning around looking at something and the girlfriend's like offended. It's like Forbidden West is sitting there and you're turning around looking at Elden Ring and Elden Ring's not even out yet. Hey guys, we just hit 2 hours on the broadcast. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Could we get 25 more likes so we can have a 400 like milestone? If you haven't done a super chat, a membership, or a gifted member today, consider doing that right at the 2 hour mark. YouTube is like, hey, you should run ads every hour. And I'm like, no, I actually think live streams should be monetized very differently than disrupting the stream with ads. An upload can have an ad at the beginning, middle, and the end, and it doesn't really do anything to the experience, but live streams don't really function that way. So I leave it to the live audience to monetize the live streams. I refreshed YouTube several times and audio is blipping. Anyone else? Wheezy said he was having an issue, but nobody else said anything, and the viewership's been very steady today. Usually the blips start around between noon and 1, so it's a little early for like the site-wide blips that we experience sometimes. You were let down by both Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring. You finished neither. I know I'm a minority. Doom, I'm telling you right now. You got the day off and can watch live. What's good, Alexander? Doom, I'm telling you, I can see why somebody would say that about both games. Elden Ring, I think the quality goes down in the end game. I do. I think the quality goes down in the end game of that game. It starts out so dadgum strong. The first 70% of that map and map clearing and bosses and all of it is just, it's a freaking work of art. Last 30% is, I think it's all over the place. I think it's I don't know. I think it disrespects the first half of the game, personally. And then Forbidden West, I could see somebody getting to the back half of Forbidden West and being like, I'm just not interested. I think the story has too many looky-loos. I think the Forbidden West story has too many looky-loos. Of like, you're looking over here, what's really happening is over here. And you're like, okay, oh, you're looking at this? Yeah, that's not what's really happening either. I don't know. I could see somebody having the same experience in Forbidden West, getting halfway through and being like, I just don't care. Like, they're both great games, but I can totally see a world where in both games you cross over the halfway mark and you're like shrugging. You're like, it just isn't doing it for me. You know? Elden Ring lived up to the hype. It did. And I think the back half of the game is piss poor when compared to the excellence of the first half. And I know the FromSoft fans don't like that outlook. And I know the FromSoft fans didn't like how I approached that game. I had people telling me that if I would have played that game differently, I would have secured a much larger FromSoft audience. And I'm like, the person you're describing is not who I am. I'm not. I'm not excessive profanity. I'm not going to put in hundreds of hours and read every lore book and comb over every nook and cranny and fall in love with the mysterious story. I'm not going to do that. I like to explore an open world. I like to feel like I cleared the map. I like to fight the bosses. I like to clear the dungeons. That's what I love. I played that game. I played it as a gamer, and I played it less as a fan. You know what I mean? I didn't play it as a fan. I played it as a gamer. And FromSoft fans want you to play like a FromSoft fan. And I didn't do that. And that's why, if you play Elden Ring like a gamer, you can't help but trip on the end game. You can't help it. Something happens. You turn a corner, you get like 60 to 70% through that game, and you're like, something's not right here. Something is off. So, I'm telling you, if you play that game like a gamer, you will find yourself agreeing, not wholeheartedly with me, but at least a little bit. And I think that's why a lot of FromSoft fans don't agree with me. They played it as a fan. And that's fine. I'm glad that you played it and enjoyed it. I'm not trying to invalidate your opinion. I'm just saying, here's why I think we're coming to different conclusions. I'm diagnosing the difference between us. Elden Ring is pretty much just a watered-down Dragon's Dogma, but the From Software rabid fanbase bites my head off for that opinion. I think that opinion is dramatically and grossly overstated. Elden Ring is watered-down Dragon's Dogma? No. Even with my criticisms made, I don't agree with that at all. What exactly does Elden Ring start to lose quality? I don't disagree. I'm just curious when it happened to you. Around the time that you finish Margot and you head up, Fire Giant is when it turned for me. Fire Giant. From that point on, I was just like, I don't know. Something's wrong with the fights and the spam and the can't see what's going on. The overuse of dragons, the poor camera in the dragons fight. I don't know. For me, it was around the Fire Giant. Its open world lost its charm for me after Larinia. I just wanted Legacy Dungeons. Yeah, Legacy Dungeons, Dungeons and Caves all felt fantastic. All of them felt fantastic. For me, the game turned to crap when I entered Leyndell. Fire Giant is the same place as well for me. Yeah. See, I'm not alone. Like, a lot of people felt like they crossed a threshold in Elden Ring, and they were like, this just isn't doing it. Something's wrong. Something's not right. And it could be boss design, it could be the spam, it could be the overuse of area of effect, it could be size of some of the fights and how much you have to run. You know, a couple of the fights feel that way. It could be like Eugene saying, like the open world just starts to get kind of annoying. I don't know. Elden Ring to me is a solid 8.5 out of 10 game. It does open world probably better than any open world game I've ever played. The music is on a level that almost no games achieve. And the enemy design and the combat options and the build diversity is all phenomenal. But there's a tipping point in that game where I believe quality goes down. Yeah, Malekith is a fight that I don't like. It's just spammy nonsense. He cheats like Melania cheats. They ran out of ways to challenge their audience, and so they just let some of the bosses cheat, and I think it's stupid. Defeated Margot yesterday. Felt the same way. Open world kind of sucks in Leyndell. Game doesn't feel as dense at that point. I don't know. I don't want to bash on the game. But I love it. And I hate it at the same time. Yeah, Horaloo. I liked Horaloo. He just doesn't have enough health. I think he's the last classic Souls boss in the game. Horaloo. After you fight Horaloo, you're in new territory almost every time you're in a boss fight. Midway through Elden Ring, hey TJ, cash me out, I'm good. Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's how I felt. Yep. And Donut was giving me grief in the comments. He was like, you clearly checked out. You didn't really care to investigate. You didn't fight some of the best boss fights in the game. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You didn't do this. And I'm like, yeah, because you know what? I went out to dinner with a really, really beautiful woman, and halfway through, she started belching and chewing with her mouth open. And so, yeah, I didn't order dessert. I got the check and left. You're exactly right. That's what happened. I was the game made it very hard for me to feel like, yeah, let me go for another round. Let me go. Let's have a date. Let's have a second date. Let's get dessert. Let's go for a walk on the pier. Let's go do something new. I was like, this interview is over. Yeah. She's 10, but she belches. She started talking crazy, insulting your religion and being political. And yeah, whatever it is that would sour the date for you, that's what I felt like. Felt like, here we go. Like, look at this game. Look at this bombshell of a game. This game's amazing. It's 10 out of 10 game, right? It's like you swipe on the app. Which way do you swipe? Is it right? You swipe right. Is it swipe right? Whichever direction you swipe, because you see a bunch of 10 out of 10 pictures and you think, this chick's a bombshell. Oh, and she's interested in all the things I'm interested in. And you get halfway through the date and you're like, this chick is rude. She's not pleasant. She chews with her mouth open. I'm not asking her out again. That's how I felt with Elden Ring. It was like halfway through the meal, something changed. It suddenly was like, this is not the game that you thought it was. But it felt like a dime. It literally felt like it turned on a dime. It was like front half of the game, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just changed. Keep in mind, I played Radon before he was patched and said all of the things that they patched. And I had all these FromSoft guys up my nose being like, the fight's fine, you just have to do this, and you just have to do that. Yes, and this is what's wrong with your community and your games. Because I sit here and say, this, and this, or something's wrong with this fight, and I'm given assurances there's nothing wrong. And a month later, however many weeks later, they literally patched everything I talked about. That's why I don't care about losing the From Software, fanatics. I know lots of you are From Software fans and you're still here, and I love you for that. But the From Software fanatics, I don't miss them at all. I don't. I do not miss them. I was always talked to as if I didn't know what I was talking about. It's like, really? Then why are literally the 3 bullet points I outlined for Radon the 3 things they addressed in the dadgum fight? Shut up. Shut up. Sorry I was busy. I thought the same before you said it. Fire Giant was the same point for me too. I still pushed through, but once I started New Game Plus, I saw the map. I was instantly done and haven't touched it since. I actually enjoyed the fresh run of the map again when I started a second character for my No Summons run. That was the part that I actually liked. And then I got to the Fire Giant again. I got to the Fire Giant on my second playthrough and I was like, frick this game. I'm done. I've fallen out of love with it. Souls community before Elden Ring wasn't that bad, but after Elden Ring, it's just beyond toxic. I don't know. When I played through Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro, the slightest bit of criticism you'd get pretty ripped up for. You know what I mean? I felt deflated knowing how long it was going to take to open up the map again. I wanted to start New Game Plus, but Blanket was boring. Once again, I praise Seamless for bringing the fun back for me. Oh, the co-op thing. I have friends who talk about Elden Ring like that in most Dark Souls games. If a fight or an encounter is general is bad, they always find a way to redeem it. Fire Giant needs bonk. Fire Giant at the capital, or is this in Lindell? As far as I know, there's only one Fire Giant. Spitting off into Elden Ring apologetics. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting off topic, but that's okay. We're kind of late in the stream, and most of you are probably here no matter what we're talking about. If you are just tuning in for Starfield news and why I'm concerned, I was highlighting the the Gamescom conundrum that they ran into. I would love to see 400 likes on the video as well. If you just tuned in, if you've been here for a while, subscribing is totally free, and it enables you to talk in my chat. And don't forget to smash the like button. 400 likes would be amazing. Let me give you the too long didn't read on why I'm concerned about the issue with yeah, that's a skill issue right there. Why I'm concerned about the latest Starfield news. It's related to Starfield at Gamescom. Okay, if you're unaware, Gamescom starts tomorrow. We will be covering it. So if you want to watch Gamescom live, you can watch it here with us. We'll be kicking off tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern with Keeley. We'll do shows before that, but we'll also be covering it. And they had a blog post. Bethesda put up a blog post saying, you know, hey, we're inviting you guys to come out, see us there. We're going to have Elden Ring and Redfall gameplay, right? And everybody gets really excited, right? And so they're all looking forward to seeing gameplay. Well, then they turn around and they specify and they say, oh, yeah, whoops, hang on a minute. It's actually going to be a replay of the stuff that we showed during the Microsoft Bethesda showcase. And it's like, okay, that seems a little weird. Why would you tell everybody to tune into this conference to watch the thing that you did at the last conference? Like, that's kind of bizarre. And then this morning, when I went to write up my rundown for the day about this, PCGamesN.com had seen and realized that they had removed it entirely. It was like, yeah, there is no Redfall or Starfield now listed on the blog post. So that's the latest Starfield news. I'm concerned because this game was supposed to launch in November. Not having anything ready for Gamescom feels very, very weird to me. Unless they've completely adjusted all marketing in relation to the delay, which I guess would then make sense. I don't know if you would come out and say that, but like, hey, listen, we have things planned to show you and gameplay to show off, but we have that now in relation to the launch date, and the launch date got moved back, so has all of our subsequent reveals. So if you were hoping to see Starfield new gameplay, my hopes for that are very low. There are people that are like, well, maybe they deleted it, and maybe this is all just to surprise us, and they're going to have all this great stuff to showcase. And I'm like, yeah, probably not. Probably not. Would be my guess. Did they forget? Yeah, they forgot all about it. They forgot about the Gamescom. You know, they forgot they were going. They were like, oh, whoops, we're going to that, guys. We need to make sure that we have some stuff ready. And they were like, we don't have anything ready, you know. I think some of this could be related to some of the stuff we've speculated about. You know, we've talked about that as well. The idea that, you know, this may have been originally slated as a timed PS5 exclusive, and then that means they might have had a bunch of stuff ready to go for PS5, so maybe all their vertical slices and all their footage have all of the wrong, you know, UI and buttons and heads-up display. Like, you don't want to have a bunch of PlayStation footage for a game that is now owned by Microsoft and a flagship Microsoft exclusive title. So all that footage, all those vertical slices had to be scrubbed. If you think about it, they likely had an entire build for PlayStation that had to be scrubbed and thrown in the bin, that they're going to do nothing with. So that's potentially playing a part as well. Who knows? Hang on one second. It sounded like something fell in the other room. I think somebody spilled like a puzzle or something. I was like, did the ice maker just like spill ice all over the floor? Like, what's going on? Set this up for redirect. Got our next stream set up. We'll be doing that in a little while. If the story quests are on par with Firefly, Starfield will be a winner, but I kind of doubt it'll be the case. There are many games coming out that are better than Starfield. There's no way to know that. You don't know if there are games coming out that are better than Starfield because you don't know the quality of those games and you don't know the quality of Starfield. Starfield could come out and be just as good, if not better than a lot of those games you're looking forward to. There's no way to know. We need Reforge insulated mugs to keep our light roast hot all day. There you go. The theory of a 900 IQ play or the crunch mode. Yeah. They had to teach an entire team new dev kits and switch hardware. New dev kits? You don't think they were making it for Xbox at all? You don't think it was being made for Xbox at all, Eugene? They forgot about the new face of Xbox. Yeah, of Xbox. That's right. That's right. Isn't a delay better than no delay, says Distorted. A lot of companies have just as many problems with their games on launch and don't bother delaying it to polish it up. They just throw the trash out there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that a delay... I'm not worried about the delay. I'm worried about everything that's happened since. I'm worried about how the delay happened. Real King Salty says, I most likely will dump a lot into Dragon's Dogma 2 for sure. I want to see Lono play it and climb an ogre for the first time. I just think the comparison is dumb. I like to let games shine on their own. What comparison? Oh, Dragon's Dogma has aged pretty well, says Jeremy. There's a few parts in the game that would give the torch... that I would give the torch to Elden Ring on. The one key factor really being exploration elements. Mr. Brony said X-Blocks. Yeah, X-Blocks. What if the plan was build PS5 and port? Got here 15 minutes ago. What's it too long? Didn't read. So the latest Starfield news is that Starfield might not be appearing at Gamescom at all. They went from saying, hey, tune in to watch Starfield gameplay as well as Redfall, to saying, oh, it's just going to be a replay of the Xbox Bethesda showcase, which that would just then be the Starfield gameplay reveal that they've already showed, which is kind of weird to say, hey, come to this conference to see the footage we showed at this other conference 2 months ago. And then, beyond that, just this morning, I go to type up my rundown about it, and PCGamesN.com has realized and discovered that it's all been deleted. Like the blog post from Bethesda literally removed Starfield and Redfall from it. So apparently they're not even going to be there. So it's like it went from come see gameplay to it's just going to be a replay to just deleted. Gone. So that's why I'm saying I'm concerned. This thing was originally slated for frickin' November. So, at some level, this could be related to them being purchased. The Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda could be playing a part. They had to suddenly start doing new builds. You know, this could be related to some of our theories about they're having to optimize the game for the Series S, and that could be playing a part. As like, hey, you know, we weren't planning on building for this thing. It was going to be, there are rumors that it was going to be a timed exclusive for PS5. And that 100% could be playing a part. The Series S holding something back? No way. Yeah, I don't want to go down the road of debating the Series S and how strong it is. You know, we had a guy in here the other day that was like trying to claim that like the Series S is equal to the PS5, and that like the actual Series X is better than the PS5 is what he was saying. Okay. What time is it? It's 11:34 now. I can have it now. Oh man, that was amazing. What was amazing? Series S wasn't back? No way. Multiplayer distracts from the appearance. Oh, multiplayer detracts from the experience. Oh, people were pretty disappointed there'd be no multiplayer in this game. Yeah. They claim you can explore the entire planet you land on. There'll be mining and things to find, enemies to kill, etc. So they're going back to basic interaction on even the most remote planets. And there won't be multiplayer. Yeah, not really a downside. Yo, good morning, Mike on the mic. I don't think Starfield multiplayer is a requirement. But I will say this. The way that you always have a companion with you in these games a lot of the times, I said similar things about Hogwarts Legacy. Like, there seems to be always, like, a companion. Well, you could add, like, a co-op mod. Yo, what's good, Atwood? You know? And, like, let somebody ride along. I feel like in these games, like in Fallout, you know, you always have somebody with you. And I just don't know if that's their concern. Because then you have to create netcode. You have to create, like, internet infrastructure so that you can interact with another person and have it run well. You know, I know they did it with Fallout 76, so maybe that was a testing ground, and then they'll launch something for Starfield later on down the line because they learned how to do certain things with Fallout 76 that, you know, maybe they at launch couldn't do with Fallout 4. Series S is better than the Xbox One X. Eugene says, shush, you'll wake them up. That's right. I personally think this story is a bit of a reach. To me, it's a non-issue. We already know how this game is going to launch, given the last decade of Bethesda's history. Well, with all due respect, it's not a reach. I did my research, and this is a story that many outlets ran with, and it's concerning when a flagship title, two flagship titles of the Microsoft platform, go from showing gameplay to it's going to be a replay of gameplay to being deleted from the blog. Like, telling me that my story is a reach, you know, whatever. Like, there's a part of me that I like you, but I want to say frick off. Like, quit coming in here and telling me my stories are a reach, right? This is based on a pattern that started over the weekend, and plenty of people are taking notice for a reason. No one else is doing this. No one else is saying, see you at Gamescom, we got gameplay. Wait, what? Oh, it's going to be a replay of gameplay. It's not going to be there. Like, no one else is doing that. Like, that's a story. That's a story. Dollars to donuts if Ragnarok would have been like, hey, Sony Santa Monica blog kicks out. Yeah, baby, tune in to Gamescom to see Ragnarok gameplay. And then they're like, wait, we have an update. It's just going to be a replay of gameplay we've already shown. And then they delete the post. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to be there. You better believe that people would be running with Ragnarok's getting delayed. It would be a story. And I would have covered it. I'd have been like, well, this is concerning. What's going on? I blasted Ragnarok for how they handled the release date announcement. It was so weird. It was like, how do you not just put out an announcement about your release date? Sounds like a miscommunication, honestly. Robert, they literally miscommunicated, so you're not saying anything. Of course it's a miscommunication. How do you miscommunicate on what you're taking to Gamescom with your title that you're working on? Your Bethesda. It's your blog. And how do you misfire on that? What? What's going on? It's their game. It wasn't a Gamescom website. Bethesda is the developer of Starfield. And they made a blog post saying, we'll see you there with gameplay of Starfield and Redfall. What do you mean, how do people make mistakes? No. How do you make this mistake is the question. How? What? Remember I said that Sony Santa Monica was approaching being disrespectful with the way they've handled God of War Ragnarok. Say something. Yeah, even Creature was blasting Sony Santa Monica. He thought it was disrespectful to the fans. How they just wouldn't frickin' say anything. I didn't agree with him. But, you know, he's in here wailing on Microsoft pretty often, and he wailed on Sony for that. We cover stuff that we feel is relevant. I thought, well, this is relevant. How do you mess that up? You're building a game, and there's a conference, and you tell everybody to come to the conference to see gameplay. Do you know that that far in advance, 2 weeks ago, they knew what they were taking to Gamescom, or at least they should have. This stuff gets booked well in advance. I've been booked and under contract for events as a host and a shoutcaster. I was booked and under contract months before. I was booked and under contract months before the events of E3 or the Microsoft, the Intel Gaming Showcase in New York. So we're supposed to believe that Bethesda is like, oops a daisy. We pushed out a blog post that said we were going to have gameplay at Gamescom. How do you make that mistake? All this stuff sketched out and planned well in advance. If that happened with God of War, it'd be world-breaking news and everyone would be ticked. I don't get why we're having an argument about this. It's pretty cut and dry. They said they were going to have gameplay. Then they said there wasn't said any, and they pulled out of the event for gameplay. But that's not even the full story. The full story is they said they were going to have gameplay. Then they said it's going to be a repeat of what we showed during the Xbox Bethesda Showcase. So somebody says, hey, it's just going to be a replay. Make sure and specify that. And then somebody came behind that decision and said, just delete them from the blog post. It's already out. It's already in the news. What are you doing? Ragnarok's releasing in November, 2 months from now, and we don't even have a full gameplay trailer. After such a long wait, hype and excitement disappears from me. We don't have a gameplay trailer of Ragnarok? So, I guess this is considered a story trailer. Oh, it's considered a reveal trailer. So they've got the 3 minutes of Ragnarok. I guess that's a story. It's basically a story reveal. Ragnarok. Yeah, and then they have the father-son cinematic. And then they have the Myths of Midgard. Okay. And then they have the collector's edition. I guess the reason that doesn't ruffle my feathers, I don't know if I'm going to play Saints Row tomorrow, Sven. The reason that doesn't ruffle my feathers is because Sony does state of play. And so until it gets a state of play, I don't expect to see a lot. That's why that doesn't ruffle my feathers. Also, there's a big difference between a game being quiet and not showing a lot. I don't know. Every time I brought up Starfield, I was told that's how Bethesda operates. They don't show anything until they're close. They don't show anything until they're close. Okay, cool. I granted people that. I said, okay, that you're right. You're right. Bethesda likes to wait. So then they show us stuff after announcing the delay. They show us gameplay finally. They announced the delay in May. June, they finally showed us gameplay. And then the next big event of the year, outside of the Game Awards, they're like, hey, we're going to show gameplay. Just kidding. It's going to be a replay. Oops, we've just deleted that from the post. And you're like, this isn't a big deal. We don't have gameplay of Ragnarok. And it's like, it's not the same. I gave Bethesda their room. I said, okay, you're right. Bethesda likes to wait a long time before they show anything. I'll grant you that. I'll give them the space. I'll wait. They finally show gameplay. Well, now we're in the marketing funnel, are we not? We're in the marketing funnel. It's time to kick stuff out. It's time to have blogs and updates and showcases. Same thing people are saying about Ragnarok, right? We're all saying the same thing. We're like, where's the Ragnarok state of play? I'll be honest, the Ragnarok state of play feels late to the party. It feels a little late to the party. Because according to the leaks I just read this morning, it's going to be first week of September. Okay, that's 2 months before the game comes out. That feels really, really late in the marketing funnel. So I'll grant you that Ragnarok's marketing also feels staggered and stunted for some reason. This reeks of miscommunication on the marketing team's end. They don't like to show things and then show sub 30 FPS footage. Yeah, they like to wait a long time to show stuff. I think it's more along the lines of they like to show stuff whenever they're closer to launch. Hope everyone has a great day. Ought to make some money so I can buy some coffee and member status. My man JW, thank you. Atwood's in here begging for gifted members. Come on. The amount of whataboutism is real. I think the PlayStation Showcase is probably happening in September after the Last of Us Remake release. Not sus. I just didn't like the way they handled it. Yeah, I mean, you guys are forgetting. I have literal clips of me calling Sony and what they did to Ragnarok day before Summer Game Fest and what they did. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee a little bit ago. They got a light and a dark. They did the best of both worlds. You didn't put in a username, so it was someone that starts with your name starts with the letter P. I don't want to say your name because if you're in chat and you have a username, thank you for ordering a best of both worlds. Your first name starts with the letter P. Thank you for that. Best of both worlds. They grabbed a light and a dark roast. Hellfire hitting an 18-month milestone. Thanks for renewing and hitting a 1.5-year milestone. That's amazing. Phil Spencer. Yeah, it was Phil Spencer. He's a big, he loves our coffee. I'm going to need a two-day heads up on Frickmas blend orders. I'm sad that I had to resort to ordering a bag of light roast. Shut up, Vengeance. Vengeance, was that you just now, or are you talking about previously? Sony's marketing in 2020 and before was perfect. Now it's just frustrating. Yeah, it's a lot of silence. It's a lot of silence, Doomslayer, and I get frustrated by it. But, like, there's a big difference between silence and whatever the frick Bethesda's doing. Oh, you ordered last week. Okay. Like, silence is frustrating. Say something. Say something. And they're like, no. That's frustrating. If silence gets to a certain threshold, I will admit that it could be confusing or worrisome. Like, what are you doing? Right? Sony hasn't been silent, though. Disagree. They've been advertising more immediate releases. I disagree. The run-up to Ragnarok has been too quiet. For how big that title is, I feel like it's been too quiet. It's been odd. It's been odd. If we were 2 or 3 months away, if we get an actual release date for Starfield, like right now we have an actual release date for Hogwarts, I'm expecting to hear a lot about Hogwarts in like December and January. You know, maybe even earlier. Like, it's a big title, big runway. Why aren't you saying anything? It's been quiet because they're pushing other games at the moment. I like transparency. I want companies to be transparent. If it's not in a shippable state, fine, say that. If it's delayed because of the Series S, fine, say that. If the storage drives of the game got wiped somehow, oops, be fine and say that. Creature says, Ragnarok did the calendar update right before Summer Game Fest. Everyone was screaming after Summer Game Fest that they said nothing. Yeah, and I 100% faulted them for that. I was like, you didn't need to go and do that. You could have done that later. You could have updated the Sony Store shipping window or release window of Ragnarok. You could have done that, the week before your state of play. Get everybody buzzing about your state of play, announce your state of play. But instead, you bait everybody and then say nothing. And then, this is on the leaker, but then the leaker says, oh yeah, Ragnarok release date, you're going to get this thing on this date. And then they bumble that. You bumbled the release date announcement. Now, that's not on them. The leaker created that pressure there was a pressure cooker surrounding that day because everyone was like, what the frick? You completely skipped Summer Game Fest after baiting everybody, and now we're chomping at the bit for this release date. And the community responded in a really dumb way, I think. So, I think Sony likes to market one game at a time. Right now, it's Last of Us. I bet God of War starts all Steam after that releases. I mean, I guess I would agree with you, but Hogwarts disrupts that entirely. They did a ton of marketing for Hogwarts that you can't get anywhere else, only on PlayStation. It's the third most viewed video on their channel, and then they had another video about Hogwarts with the DualSense controller. So I don't think that that's true. I don't think that that's true. Now, I know you're not saying, oh, first party. So you think, you could be right. You think, and Eugene's agreeing with you, that Sony's like one first-party title in the hopper at a time. We don't want to step on each other's toes. Now, I could definitely see that with respect to Forbidden West earlier in the year, right? They give Forbidden West their due, and they back off. And now you're saying Last of Us Part 1 is all we're going to really be churning out. And then once that drops, it's time for Ragnarok to get its due. Hogwarts has 2 videos and a blog or 2. How's that any different from Ragnarok? I was just thinking that he was saying they only market one game at a time. I wasn't catching his point. That's why I responded with Hogwarts. It's like, well, then why are they talking about Hogwarts? First time on this channel, loving the discussion. You just got a new subscriber. Thank you to all the new subscribers today. I am safe for work, so a lot of people subscribe and then they're here every day. They throw me on in the background like a radio show. We do multiple shows a day. Our second show today is the new Black Myth Wukong gameplay. I'm very excited that we have new gameplay of that game. I was getting a little worried about it. Game's looking very good. We'll do a bit of a breakdown, and then once that's over, we'll be doing some, we'll end the day with a members-only stream. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. And then tomorrow, we will be covering the Gamescom events starting at 2 p.m. Eastern. Prior to Gamescom, we will be streaming during the day and covering other things. 438 likes, 421 watchers. Yeah, keep in mind the 438 likes is because it's, you know, we're coming close to the 3-hour mark on the stream, so lots of people have smashed like and left. But Tasbo says blip. Yeah, we're getting close to the noon time. They love to have blips around noon. Somewhere between noon and 1. Black Myth Wukong's my most anticipated game aside from Ragnarok. Wasn't Ragnarok gameplay just part of a quick cut trailer? Yeah, it's not really a gameplay reveal. I conceded that. I actually thought there were 2 videos because there is so much gameplay in that reveal that I thought there was 2 videos. I thought they had like a story reveal and a gameplay trailer. I was incorrect. That's why I double checked. I was like, wait a minute, I might say something that's wrong here. So I went and double checked and I conceded. I said, okay, they haven't done a gameplay trailer yet. They did a reveal and then they did like a 30-second cinematic about the father and the son. To generate hype, to get the game out, most eyes, potential buyers. Tell you what, I'm going to quickly run upstairs so we have time to switch over to Wukong, so don't go anywhere. Smash the like button. We appreciate you so much being here. Smash subscribe. Please don't leave just because I'm walking away upstairs. We have a second show, so that's always a bummer when people are like, I'm out, because I go upstairs. Like, we're not shutting down. I just have to use the restroom. Like, I've been drinking Reforge Roast all morning. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Okay. And time he's playing it? Playing what? Outsider. Renewing their membership. Thanks for jumping back in. Appreciate you so much. Still mad I can't get those 2 hours back. Summer Game Fest showed us what? A leak we already knew. Oh no, we were both pretty disappointed and ticked off about Summer Games Fest. I mean, that first day especially, we were like, man, this can be a great, this can be a great start. Kick off the week, kick off everything, and it was such a dud. The other showcases were so much stronger. It's always a bummer, and I obviously as a content creator, we have a greater interest in covering those things, and we want them to go well, right? Because it affects us. And that was the weakest show, which is a bummer because I love Keeley and I really wanted it to be good, and it just wasn't. Okay. Let's get everything ready. Felt bad for your boy Jeff. Yeah, I like Jeff. I felt like he kind of got his legs chopped off. It wasn't. Some of it was not his fault. What are you gonna do? It's completely understandable that it's completely understandable that Black Myth Wukong, is this the official Black Myth account? Who's making this game? Wolong's got their own Twitter. I can't tell if this is the official one or not. Oh, Game Science. Game Science. They don't have one either. Whatever. I'll just at that company because they might that handle might be involved. I don't know. Okay. Or at the very least, people following that account, maybe they'll like it or or whatever. Quote tweet. Send that now. Hit here. NVIDIA's channel. No, I was trying to at them on Twitter. I know where the video is. I know where the video is. I was trying to at them on Twitter. Oh, let's see. Where is the official? Yeah, I'm going to watch it on NVIDIA. I don't like watching all these other freaking re-upload channels because they bake all their crap into the video. Watch our next video and all his overlays and junk. It's it's not even your freaking video. You just literally re-uploaded it. Okay. Alright, I'm going to put a link in chat because this is where we're going. Just in case redirect doesn't work. Black Myth Wukong gameplay has been highly anticipated after its first reveal and combed over. We have Black Myth Wukong new gameplay to look at. That's what this video will be. These videos are a little bit long. I'm gonna jump right into the content and look at the video here right at the beginning, break it down, slow-mo, freezes, we'll loop the video. This is a live stream, so if you weren't here for the breakdown, make sure and hit subscribe and the bell button. It's usually a talk show. I'm usually in a scene like this, breaking down different subjects. This morning we were talking about why I'm concerned about Starfield, with them seemingly skipping Gamescom all of a sudden. We'll also be doing Gamescom coverage on this channel, so make sure and subscribe for that. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring everybody over from that stream, and then we will jump right into the Black Myth Wukong gameplay. I'm very excited to get more footage of this game.